Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was spirits, the primordial being rwby. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by SAMNAMIKAZE23 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. What the hell are you? Why are you doing this? Naruto's roared in anguish, looking into Pain's Rinnegan with rage in his eyes. He was immobilized, pinned to the ground by a chakra rod going through his hands to the earth. He was unable to move to his anger. Pain just looked on with his cold dead eyes, impassive to Naruto's plight. He simply spoke. "Why are you doing this?" you asked. "Even if I told you the reasons, it wouldn't change anything, but if I choose my words with care, maybe you'll grasp a little bit of it." "I have no words to hear from you. My goal is to do what Jiraiya-sensei could not accomplish." Pain spoke, regardless of the Jinchuriki's rants. Naruto looked angry, his eyes darkening with rage. "Sensei, he dares call him sensei after all he has done." Pain, ignorant of his thoughts, continued, "As I told you, I'll bring forth peace and justice." "Peace? Justice? Don't mess with me, don't fuck with me. You killed my master, hurt my friends, and destroyed my village." Naruto's nails dug deep into the earth, looking forward with unrestrained anger at Pain. His eyes and thoughts darkened, looking deep into Pain's eyes with resentment. "So don't stand on your little throne and spew out bullshit after all you've done." Naruto heaved in and out in fury and pain. He was helpless here, and that infuriated him more than anything. Pain looked back at him, without a judging expression on his face. "So tell me what your goal is." Naruto snarled in anger, looking deep with hatred towards Pain's concentric eyes. "I'll fucking kill you and then bring peace to the elemental nations." Pain closed his eyes and thought. "I see that, splendid. It's the epitome of justice, nevertheless." He opened his eyes, holding Naruto's gaze. "What about my family, my friends, my village? Does Konoha alone have the right to proclaim peace and justice after causing this very destruction to my village?" Naruto's eyes slightly widened. What are you talking about?" The Fire Country along with Konoha grew too big. To protect their own interests, they warred with the other great nations, and, in doing so, securing their own gains was necessary. Had they not, their nation and villages would be in famine. However, it was our small nation and villages that became the battleground. Naruto looked stunned as Pain continued. "Time and again, our country was invaded and left in ruins. We suffered through wars many times until, finally, the great nation stabilized. While all our country had left was a pain out of this world." Naruto's once judgmental face fell, replaced with one of shock. He then looked solemnly forward, thought spiraling in and out. Pain looked at him, speaking, "We aim for the same thing. We are trying to bring forth a peace Jiraiya-sensei spoke of. You and I are no different from each other. We are simply driven by our own sense of justice. You are trying to do the same to me, as I did to Konoha. The pain of loss is the same for us all. You and I have both suffered this pain." Naruto's face twisted to that of distress as the deaths of his comrades passed through his mind. Pain, seeing that his words were finally reaching him, continued. "You fight for your own sense of justice, and I fight for mine. We are ordinary humans, driven by revenge in the name of justice." Pain then crouched to look at a conflicted Naruto straight in the eye. "However, if we disguise our revenge in the name of justice, this justice grows, gives birth to more revenge, and thus the chain of hatred begins. By living through these events now, by knowing the past, we can look into the future. That is what we know as history, and from it, we learn that humans are incapable of opening their eyes, of understanding each other." Naruto couldn't say a word, completely stunned at the revelation by the person before him, and even though he knew this was not his real body, he could see the pain deep into his eyes. He could empathize. He fortunately was not born in war. He didn't have to see the atrocities man was capable of committing, but now, after Sasuke and Jiraiya, he could feel something, even if it was a fraction of what he was going through. Pain, indescribable pain and hatred all mixed together. It felt similar to the Kyuubi's chakra. As Pain kept speaking on, Naruto could feel that they were similar, that they were connected. It wasn't in his character to think, but now. Pain then spoke words that resonated in his mind every moment. Something that chewed in his head, but he worked at trying to deny. The world of shinobi is ruled by hatred. His conversation with Jiraiya years ago came through as he thought on the world. Konoha, the elemental nations, did it really deserve to be saved? No one was holy, no one was justifiable in their actions. No one. Ever since Jiraiya spoke those words to him during his childhood, everything began to be made clear. The glares of the populace wherever he went, unjustifiable deaths, everything was clear, but he ignored it, put it at the back of his mind as he smiled, trudging forward. The truth was that he was afraid of the world he would have stepped in had he embraced it, the dark side of the world. He kept on forging ahead, trying to find a reason to stick to his ideals, his people. Although, he knew, time and again he was losing. It only needed something to push him over the edge, and it came. Sasuke happened, while he was heartbroken, he could at least understand a bit of what he went through, but not completely. Jiraiya then died, and the hate he felt for pain was indescribable. He could feel it tearing in his heart, he desperately wanted to kill this man in front of him. In that moment, Naruto was shocked at the dark thoughts that came into his head. It was then he realized. It was then he was faced with the cold hard truth. He wasn't different from all of them, the people the world criticized. All they needed was one bad day, one very bad day. And to Naruto, it was happening. I believe that the day will come when people can truly understand each other. Naruto's eyes widened at the words of his sensei filtering through his memories. Was it false hope? Mere wishes? He was losing. To create peace, how will you face this hatred? I want to hear your answer. Naruto closed his eyes in solemn silence as Pain's question was asked. How was he supposed to answer that? He couldn't even conquer his own hatred, how was he able to face that of the world? I don't know how. Pain looked on impassively with Naruto hopelessly unable to meet his gaze. His point was proven. Now at this moment, Naruto couldn't move. He felt what he rarely felt. Hopelessness and solitude. And just when he felt at the lowest pits of his mind, she happened. Hinata was killed before him while she selflessly tried to protect him, and he lost it. He didn't care anymore about the state of the world, all he wanted to do was kill him, end him. The battle ended, Naruto stood victorious, standing over Pain body, but the strangest thing was that he couldn't feel the victory. It felt pyrrhic, it felt pointless. That feeling of victory, that need to prove his might was no longer there. His heart was still empty, hollow. Did he really win? Naruto looked down at Pain's corpse, contemplating his words in their earlier conversation, clenching his fist. He moved on till he found himself in Nagato's hideout. He looked ahead, looking at his shrunken visage. Was this the price of his power? So, peace has arrived, huh? Naruto looked across the room to see a female close to him. Looking fierce, strong, and ready to give her life and loyalty for him, Nagato. The one responsible for everything. How someone could stand beside him while doing this, an ultimate crime to humanity baffled him. Common sense would dictate she would as far from him as possible, but despite all he had done, she stood by him. Fighting and killing for him. He wanted to know why and at his behest, Nagato told him his story, and it was heartbreaking to listen to. Hiko was dead, and I became the leader of the organization in his stead. After that, more of my friends. My brothers died in battle, and more and more and more people continued to die. Naruto looked down in contemplation. Nagato continued, you people of the fire country that would stop at nothing to achieve peace. The small request fees people pay to Kano have become war funds. The people of the fire country knowingly support war, yet they speak hypocritically of peace. The barely existent peace of your great nations is made possible by the sacrifices of lesser nations like ours. To us, your peace means violence. Just by living, people are hurting others without realizing it. As long as mankind continues to exist, so will hatred. True peace can't exist in this cursed world. Jiraiya Sensei's words are nothing but fiction. Naruto looked solemnly forward as he looked at Nagato. Konan watched the exchange without comment. She too wanted to listen to his words, his answer. The person that defeated the 6 paths of pain, Uzumaki Naruto. I have told you my story, let me hear your answer. Prologue 1. The Progenitor. Ring. The bell rang out as a blonde-haired woman stepped into the shop. She was an attractive woman wearing a long-sleeved suit with spectacles. She made her way to the desk looking directly at a bold gray-haired old man on the counter with a stern look. The old man looked at the woman smiling happily, good day Glinda dear, what can we get you today? Not particularly interested in your material merchandises. I need the audience of a certain blonde-haired fellow. The old man sighed grumbling, at least purchase something. The woman's eye twitched, with the old man sighing disappointedly. Customers seemingly bloomed over the last few months, and the disappointing thing was that a very few bought a single thing from the shop. Due to the fact that they came to drag him back to the academy. He yelled. Naruto. In this case it was the latter. Yeah, I heard. No need to be grumpy about it. Naruto grumbled, lazily trudging into the shop from the back door. His eyes shifted tiredly to the woman who arched an eyebrow at his disheveled form. Naruto grimaced as her eyebrow twitched in irritation, you know school started 3 hours ago, and you've been sleeping. Well, not sleeping exactly, more or less. Oh, you are so infuriating. It has been explained time and time again your priorities in the school, and you walk around like you own the place. Very disappointing. She scolded as Naruto grimaced, while ruffling his hair. Rashi just chuckled at the pair. It was always a delight watching the blonde taking down a peg. Would you stop knocking me down already Glinda? Naruto looked to the side seemingly with a pout. I'm sorry I overslept, had a late night appointment. Glinda just sighed as she placed her fingers on the bridge of her nose. This was too much for one day, and it was morning. Just get dressed. Yay. Naruto waved, lazily moving to the back door where he came from. The old man chuckled at Glinda's annoyed look. She then turned her gaze back at him, looking forward in stoic silence, greatly making the man uncomfortable. A few minutes of silence passed as the old man tried to start up a conversation. Hey, you two act like a couple. Bringing chuckles to a good old man like me. Glinda's eyes narrowed at Rashi, whose face became nervous. He laughed nervously at the cold aura permeating round the woman. How the hell does Naruto deal with her? Naruto's voice echoed from the inner room. Don't give the old man a heart attack, Glinda, that's my job. What a weird thing to say. Rashi spoke out, looking back to the door. You troublesome brat. Hey, what can I say, Rashi, I care for your well-being. Rashi just sighed and moved to the coffee maker. The Uzumaki came with his own headaches. Naruto came out wearing a simple white shirt with an unbuttoned collar with folded sleeves and black trousers. He ruffled his blonde spiky hair, inquiring with a grin, well, what do you think? Get the hell out of here. Rashi waved him away as he sipped from his cup. Really? I look that great. Thanks. Well, I'm on my way. Don't miss me too much, old man. Linda just looked confused at the conversation but shrugged it off, not seeing the need to bother herself with a weird duo between them. Whatever. Rashi moved to set up some dust crystals for business. Hopefully the next customer would actually buy something. Naruto walked alongside Glinda, who just looked annoyed with the concept of walking with him. If you smile, it won't do any damage to your reputation or your face. I've apologized already. I'm sorry. Besides, Rashi's not here for you to intimidate. Glinda sighed, her expression softening a bit. I'm curious. What's the story between you and Rashi? Naruto brightened. Ah. I and the old man go way back, I guess, not to mention he makes the meanest ramen. Up to par with the one I had back home. She continued to move ahead, commenting, and why do you still do mercenary jobs? Even though I understand, it's quite useless if you ask me. Naruto folded his arms in defiance. Sure, it seems useless, but it's one of the only ways for me to legally flex my muscles. Plus, Osban doesn't spar with me as often as I'd like. You aren't focused on hand to hand, so that's another loss. This way I get to stretch some muscles as well as stay sane. Stay sane? Glinda asked, incredulous, to which Naruto chuckled. Don't think too much into it. You're very peculiar. Naruto just chuckled. I have that way with people. I still don't get you. Glinda spoke, prompting a puzzled glance from Naruto. What do you mean? I'm pretty self-explanatory. You're just strange. From the first time I met you, I always knew you were odd. It might just be me, but you and Osban aren't telling me something. Really? Naruto whistled innocently. And what do you think it is? I'm going to find out one way or another. It's no use straining your head, Glinda. Naruto laughed, patting her shoulder playfully. Besides, I thought women loved the mysterious types. Glinda looked at him with an arched eyebrow, walking evenly with him. Naruto just smirked as he moved on, the wind brushing his face. Naruto, who was oblivious to her actions, commented, slowing down a bit. Well, it seems we were walking rather pointlessly. I could have easily teleported us to the academy. Or are you enjoying my company, Glinda? Has this delinquent of a man managed to tame the huntress's heart? Naruto asked with a taunting smirk at his last statement. Glinda, who was slightly ahead of him, stopped to his confusion. Naruto looked at her still form with a questioning look. Glinda. She turned towards him, speaking, look at me, Naruto. Huh? Naruto shifted his head sideways in puzzlement as Glinda looked at him seriously. Here, there was no childish pranks, no trivial matters, she just looked at him as if she was looking for something. Searching for something. Naruto had to admit he always felt nervous around this woman. He never knew the reason, but he knew that she was perceptive about things. Well, he could easily wipe her memories in case she managed to deduce who he was. He just couldn't. She was a rare gem, someone he could bond with. Before he could outlive her, that is. While he was waiting for her to say something, he was stunned when she just walked on ahead. A circular inscription glowing on the floor ahead of them. Naruto looked slightly stunned, seeing the faint smile she gave him. He ruffled his hair, chuckling a bit before accepting the invitation and stepping into his patented transportation spell. And you think I'm the only peculiar one, Glinda? A very rare gem she was indeed. In a blink of light, they vanished. From dusk till dawn. Rashi sighed as night came. So far only a handful of customers came to buy his products. It wasn't long ago when a red-hooded girl came into his shop, but since then nothing. He was about giving up hope for the day before he heard a man ending a conversation. But perhaps victory is in the simpler things that have been long forgotten, things that require a smaller, much honest soul. He walked into the shop, with Rashi arching an eyebrow at the man's words. Looking at the goons in black suits and red tie, he grimaced. Do you know how hard it is to find a dust shop open this late? This shouldn't be good. So, how were the classes? Ozpin asked, adjusting his spectacles. Naruto just scowled, moving from the door and sat opposite Ozpin in the latter's office, the fan rotating slowly. What do you think? He leaned into his chair. I never saw myself to be a teacher, feels like I'm going against the very essence of myself. Where's Glinda? Ozpin replied, who knows? Walking around the school doing things, I'm guessing. She's one weird woman, I tell you. Very perceptive. Naruto commented, looking deep in thought. Ozpin looked curious as to what elicited this comment. She was able to find out about you? Please, I doubt that. Naruto waved a comment away, just that I know she feels something is strange about me, well, about us. That's good, very good. Ozpin nodded with a chuckle, prompting a puzzled look from Naruto. Why do you say that? It means she is a very capable huntress. She is the second in command after me even though she is still a teacher. It is a great thought that she is beginning to suspect something between us. I actually am rooting for her to catch us, you know. Naruto smirked in resignation before looking to the ceiling fan following the rotating blades. Stop making it seem as if we are committing a crime or something. You're a weird one, you know. Ozpin laughed. Say that to an old-ass man like yourself. Naruto scoffed as Ozpin got up from the chair and moved to the shelves behind him. He removed a bottle of wine and 2 glasses, pouring the wine into the 2 glass cups and giving one to Naruto. Mouthing a silent cheers, Naruto drank from it, peering into the fluid. Good stuff. Bad luck to you. You can just enjoy the taste. Heh. Ozpin looked at Naruto, commenting, I have a bad feeling that things are going to get rowdy again. You too, huh? Naruto hummed while sipping from his glass. Ozpin frowned. Due to the reports coming in from the council, it's no-brainer that your Fronis are going to be an integral part of that. Naruto grimaced. A bitter thought going through his memories, they really went beyond my teachings. Although I had to leave lest my secret be left out, it was disappointing that they turned out this way. They were a bad decision in attempting to bring the 2 species together. They were meant to be a mode to create a beacon of light to the world, not this. Was leaving them a mistake? Naruto closed his eyes in thought, not replying to him. Ozpin looked at nervously, asking, you aren't going to kill them, are you? I don't know, Ozpin. They keep pushing things to the point that it's less likely to be an option anymore. Given Ironwood's reports of the rising turbulence in Mistral, we might be getting there sooner than we hoped. Ozpin nodded in understanding. He knew Naruto more than anyone alive at this point. If things went out of hand, he knew how bloody Naruto could make it. Really bloody. He knew that beneath that smile, that cheerfulness was a god, a titan that could cause destructions to the point that the grim world would be no more than a speck in his eye. He never ever imagined meeting someone with such an amount of strength within a body, but here he was, sitting opposite to definitely the most powerful being in the world of Remnant. Perhaps there might be a way for them, through her. Ozpin contemplated before going through his drawers. Dark matters aside, we are set to conclude selection of our new students. Here I have a surprise for you. Ozpin tossed a file to Naruto, who caught it. Looking through the file, he flipped through some pages before he stopped at one. His eyes widened in recognition, a familiar smile emerging from his face. Is this? Yay. Ozpin commented, I was stunned when I saw her part of the new students. Makes things interesting, don't you think? Naruto smiled fondly at the picture. I see she is hiding in plain sight. Discrimination seems to be her fear. It's been a while since I've seen her. Don't worry. Ozpin spoke in assurance as Naruto looked at him, arching an eyebrow questioningly. We will quell that fear of hers. Besides, isn't it why you created this school? To bring everyone together? Naruto chuckled before relaxing to his seat. Thank you, Ozpin. Chapter end. Chapter 2. Death. Naruto walked through a deserted forest slowly in the night, seemingly without care. The trees seemed withered. Drained of life and shrunken to a high degree. He still wore his white shirt and black trousers as required of most of the staff in Beacon Academy. The entire region had an ominous feeling around it. From the slight feeling of dread and the stagnant smell in the air, any weak-willed man would have run from the place. Naruto's eyes stayed forward, unflinching to the atmosphere. He had seen worse, created worse. 2 grim monsters burst forth from the earth beside him, aiming to attack. Naruto never bothered to spare a glance towards them. They were instantly blown to bits at the shockwave that emerged from his body. Their blood staining the earth. He continued to walk ahead, unhindered. Moving for some time, he passed a couple of strange-looking trees that were arranged in a spiral manner, walking till he was at the center. Finally, he stopped, finding himself in a bare surrounding a clearing possessing no shred of life. His eyes narrowed as a silhouette figure emerged from the sands, showing a great difficulty in trying to stand up. On spotting Naruto, a displeased growl emerged from the silhouette. The figure spoke hoarsely. Pointing his shaking fingers at Naruto, you come here after all you have done, Naruto. It's been a while, hasn't it? Naruto looked at the silhouette, the night making it impossible to see, but Naruto could see the figure clearly as he responded. He shifted his gaze to the skies, noting the moon hidden behind the clouds. How does it feel, the silhouette spat, taking on the title of a traitor? Traitor, huh? Naruto smiled mirthlessly. I guess that's appropriate. That is what you're supposed to say. That's what the world said, but this world is turning out better, even if you can't see it. In what way? The silhouette asked in anger, moving forward. It disintegrated into wisps of black mist, reappearing behind Naruto, who simply turned to look at him with a frown. Because of your actions, these abominations, the Grim, have been created. All because of what you did in the war. I can't believe they still regard it as a war. Naruto closed his eyes in thought as the silhouette looked on in anger. Naruto looked at him, not amused with the conversation. It never matters what happened during the war. I decided since that moment to rebuild the world, and nothing is going to change that. These Grim are here because we are still in the developing stages. They were. Naruto unconsciously clenched his fist. An unfortunate side effect. No. The silhouette smirked. The Grim are a proof of your failure, and I know you've known that. Naruto's eyes narrowed. I am aiming to create an ideal world. And I specifically bound you to this world to watch as I prove you wrong. This is just the beginning, Sasuke. You wanted to change this world using your means, but it was unfortunate your ideals clashed with mine. Sasuke frowned, replying, the moment you bound me to this earth I could feel the damage you kept doing to the world. Naruto, if you don't stop this, you will not be able to go back to the past, you would not be able to recover the remaining pieces of this world. What you are trying to do is no different from what I planned to do. What makes you think the world would be any different? It's strange you finally care, Sasuke. Naruto chuckled sarcastically while he looked sternly at Sasuke, who didn't flinch. Our methods are different, and whether you admit it or not, I'm better than you. I saved your sanity. I prevented you from becoming one of them. Don't spit on my goodwill, I never wanted it to lead to this, never. Goodwill? Sasuke looked furious. That is what you call your actions to me, goodwill? He scoffed. You know, I wish I was a Grim. Naruto's eyes slightly widened. Then I'll forever spend my life hunting you. Well, Sasuke let out a dark chuckle. Your comeuppance is coming. Naruto frowned before looking to the darkened skies. Goodbye, Sasuke. The silhouette vanished in a wisp of smoke, dissipating to the atmosphere. Naruto looked ahead before his eyes widened, looking to his palm to note slight cuts due to his nails digging into his skin. As he watched it heal, he mused. Always knows how to get a rise out of me, that Sasuke. Prologue 2. Death. Naruto walked slowly along the streets, making his way back to the shop. His eyes were closed as he contemplated on his actions. His discussion with Sasuke at the forefront of his mind. He kept walking before his foot marched glass. Opening his eyes, he looked down. Huh? Arching an eyebrow, he looked forward, seeing signs of collision around the streets. He moved, finding himself in front of Rashi's shop. His eyes then narrowed. Robbers? No. He observed the entire road, noting the slight cracks in the earth surrounding him. Far too tumultuous to be ordinary robbers. He moved to the top of a building where he sniffed the air. Fire, storm, and this energy. Glinda was here, huh? No doubt she tried to restore the damages. Apparently not all of it. He smirked before he vanished and appeared in front of the shop. He looked sideways, seeing the shattered window. He sighed in annoyance, moving inside the shop to find Rashi with a gloomy aura surrounding him. Rashi, what happened really? Can't you use those weird deciphering skills of yours? Rashi spoke as he sniffed with a downcast emotion as Naruto's eyebrow twitched. Why are you sulking anyway? We can easily replace what was stolen, I see you are not hurt. Nothing was lost. Huh? There was this girl. She helped fight off the robbers. Girl? Naruto asked with an arched eyebrow. He looked in thought, musing. Rashi nodded his head. Yay, she had this reddish black hair. And had one big weapon of the sort. It all happened so fast for these old eyes to capture. Rashi spoke with a sigh, moving to the coffee machine. Naruto just chuckled as the shards of the broken window seemingly rose up and began to fit back into their initial position. Well, I will get to work tomorrow, so I'm going to catch some sleep. Naruto walked past Rashi to the back door. How can you go to sleep after what happened? Rashi asked, flabbergasted, prompting a chuckle from Naruto. They wouldn't come back. Besides, if they did, they would be digging their own graves. Naruto turned towards Rashi, smiling. Sorry I wasn't here, Rashi. The old man just groaned, waving Naruto away. Yay, yay. He seemingly gazed into the cup of coffee in contemplation. You should also catch some sleep. Naruto spoke, chuckling. Sleep is precious to an old man such as yourself. The man scowled. Cheeky brat. He turned and found that the shop was restored to its original state when Naruto left for work today. He shook his head, not wanting to delve deeper into the mystery that was Uzumaki Naruto. As the enigma suggested, he was going to get some sleep. He needed it after what happened. Naruto was seen in Ozpin's office, the latter commenting, "I'm actually surprised you decided to come early." Glinda nodded in agreement, "I'm surprised too, but considering what happened yesterday night it was expected." Naruto gave a strained smile as Ozpin chuckled with Glinda smirking mischievously. "Make fun of me while you're at it. So, Glinda, you were there. What happened?" The atmosphere was toned down as Glinda replied, "It was Torchwick. He came to rob the old man's store for some dust. It seems like they have been a little bit more active than their dormant states earlier." Naruto commented. Ozpin nodded his head as he looked and thought. "Things are getting rowdy. Fortunately the Faunus aren't showing any activity. They are silent. Being silent is not good." Naruto spoke in thought. "I agree." Glinda closed her eyes, leaning to the desk. "There's always calm before the storm." Naruto then inquired, "The old man said something about a red-haired girl." Glinda shifted her gaze to Ozpin who gave Naruto a folder. Naruto opened it to see her picture, he hummed in interest. Ruby Rose. So this girl was able to hold them back. Well, she had some help, but yes. Glinda walked towards him, showing him the video of her battle. Naruto chuckled, for someone at such an age to show such battle skills, remarkable. Why does she seem familiar? Naruto pondered flipping through the folder. Arching an eyebrow, he remarked. Signal Academy. Apparently Crow taught her. Ozpin answered with a nod. He's her uncle. Makes sense. Naruto murmured, obviously interested to the new topic of conversation. He placed her picture on the table. I noticed her eyes. You know what it is, don't you? Ozpin smirked, the silver eye theory, huh? Not a theory. Naruto interjected. Crow has been hiding this for a while. Glinda spoke, folding her hands, that much is obvious. Considering the threat that she will face in the future, it is no surprise that she was trained early. Naruto nodded his head in agreement before giving a knowing smirk, let me guess, you provided her admission to Pekin. Ozpin gave a smirk, leaning into his chair. You know it. Besides, why did you think Crow sent her here? Mostly for Theatrix so we could see her abilities. Glinda spoke out, we will watch over her properly. This is a rare phenomenon. Naruto nodded his head in agreement before walking out. Well, I have to get to class. He waved them away, see you later Ozpin, Glinda. The duo nodded, watching Naruto walk away. The door closed as Glinda spoke from behind Ozpin, he's a puzzle, an enigma. Ozpin smirked, I agree with you on that. There are even things I don't know about him. He seems to have lived a complicated life. Glinda walked out of the office, stopping by the door, complicated huh? I know something is going on, something you aren't telling me. I see it in your eyes every day, despite your shades. Ozpin didn't comment and just looked forward. Glinda couldn't see Ozpin's frown, but it seemed she could feel it, later Ozpin. She walked out of the office leaving Ozpin who clenched his fist, a frown graced his features. Years ago. It was night, but the fires that consumed the town currently gave a wrong impression. Grimm tore apart the land, laying raid to a town. Multiple civilians were left dead as their corpses were strewn across the trembling earth. Hunters and huntresses were mutilated, with their screams filling the night, the terrifying growls of the Grimm sending shivers through every being in the vicinity. The green-haired hunter gasped as he was sent spiraling away into a building before being skewered by a broken pipe. He remained motionless dead, with his gaze forever etched in horror, looking to the skies in despair. The very young white-haired girl cried while hiding underneath some foliage. The choking stench from the miasma exuded from the Grimm, aided in adding fear to the human beings. Fear was the only thing that riveted through her body as she shivered. Images of her parents who were torn apart filled her mind, stilling her body, unable to move. She shivered in shocked response as a huge Grimm landed before her, the shockwave from its descent sending the foliage away. She could not move. Looking up to the Grimm who moved slowly towards her, growling like a predator. She couldn't react. Rooted in fear as the Grimm's visage was centimeters from her face. She had a feeling to vomit, but she couldn't respond. Her eyes were dilated completely, her body, rooted in fear. It took a short while, but she managed to mutter 2 words. Hey, kill me. The Grimm, seemingly understanding her words, widened its maws ready to eat her when its head fell from its shoulders completely separated. Its blood poured out from the Grimm's neck, sprinkling down on the girl, her white hair being dyed black. Her fair skin, tainted. She slowly blinked at the turn of events as a cloaked man was now in front of her. She shivered in fear, taking in a huge gulp as his hand slowly ran through her scalp. He spoke in a hoarse whisper, what's your name, dear? It's dark. The girl muttered, why is everything dark? Monsters, they are here. The figure slightly chuckled. Its hoarse dark voice mumbling, the monsters that haunt us live not in the dark, but in our hearts. You think the Grimm's blood made you blind, but no, it's made your vision better, the darkness you see, that you are so clouded by is nothing but the true state of the world. Remnant you now call it, how appropriate. Although, I wonder what was the point of all this. It's puzzling, even to me. Perhaps it's you. Gaining some semblance of composure, she wiped the blood off her eyes, seeing the figure. His face was covered by a mask similar to that of a death god's. A terrifying aura was seen around it as the mask looked alive. The eye holes flickered with gold luminescence. The mouth seemingly grinning. What are you?" she shouted in horror. "Oh, did I scare you? I can smell it. The fear, its stench clouds you. It stink beckleds your capacity to walk head high in the sun, a lamb to slaughter." The mask's mouth seemingly moving in accordance with the figure's words. "Why you are grim," she spoke stammering. "Am I? I wouldn't be too certain of that. The grim do not speak, do they?" The lady just looked in fear, unable to comment. The figure then vanished mysteriously, the girl looking stunned. Suddenly she regained her breathing as she looked around, noting the incoming number of grim. She had to run along. She gasped in shock at the loud and powerful voice that sounded beside her. The figure was seen besides her, chuckling amusedly. As if giving a jump start, she ran deep into the forest, panting and heaving in fear, away from the figure. The monster. Its last words were stirred into her memories. "I'm out of charity tonight. If you choose, keep your head bowed and bent on your life's path. I have a lot of plans with someone of your potential. With what I can sense in you, I do hope to see you as a wolf someday, not some sheep in need of saving. Until then, remember." The girl looked around in a deserted forest she stumbled into. Suddenly she found herself surrounded by grim who stalked around her little frame. She inhaled and exhaled sharply, her pupils darting in all direction. Gritting her teeth, the creature's last words rippled through. "Remember the one you fear the most." Armed with a new sense of survival, she screamed, rwby. What followed was a huge blast that encompassed the vicinity. Obliterating everything in sight. Present. Beacon Academy evening. Naruto walked across the hall with his hands placed into his pockets. He looked deep in thought as a few respectful students bowed in respect towards him. Smiling nicely at them, which earning a few blushes from a few, his expression changed as words from his conversation with Sasuke passed through his mind. "You know, I wish I was a grim. Then I'll forever spend my life hunting you." Those words, although expected, stilled him. Was he so far gone that someone would prefer to be mindless just to be away from this place? Ever since the incident of the moon, things were slowly spiraling down. So deep in his thoughts he didn't notice Glinda walking towards him, drawing his attention. "Hey Naruto." He blinked and saw her smiling at her. "Hey there Glinda. What's wrong?" Naruto widened his gaze in surprise. "She noticed, huh?" "Nothing much, just worried about Rashi is all." Glinda narrowed her gaze. "I see. Talking about Rashi, I never got to thank you." Naruto spoke, prompting an arched eyebrow from Glinda. "For what exactly?" "Protecting him. Thanks for that. I wasn't around and who knows what would have happened." Naruto spoke as a grateful smile emerged from his face. Glinda just smiled back at him. Her features softening. "Sure, but if you are to thank anyone it should be Ruby. I will do that in due time. Besides, they are going to arrive by tomorrow, right?" Naruto asked, eliciting a nod from Glinda. The two began to walk down the hallway. "So, how are the classes? You must be losing your mind watching over everything." "Nothing I'm not used to. Even I know controlling all this can take a toll on someone. Even such a highly efficient person like you." Glinda blinked. Thanks I guess. I've got a lot on my mind, so I've been jaded lately. Hey, how about we take a break from all this? Go to clear our heads somewhere calm." Glinda blinked in puzzlement. Like where?" "I don't know, somewhere really nice." Naruto smiled at her. "What do you say? I might need someone to talk to. It helps at times." Oh. Glinda was befuddled. She was rooted in her spot as Naruto arched an eyebrow. This was unexpected. Of all the people she expected Naruto needing to listen, she never considered herself. Glinda. Sure," Glinda muttered as she was brought out from her musings, prompting a grin from Naruto. "Alright then, see you in the evening. I need to see Ozpin about something." He quickly gave her a peck on her cheek and nimbly walked away, while a stunned red-faced Glinda looked around rapidly, trying to see if someone saw. Why would he do that? Snickers were heard behind her as Peter Port and Bartholomew Oobleck were revealed behind her. She turned as a knowing smirk went through their features. Glinda looked scandalized. Aye. Who would have thought that Naruto and Glinda? Ho. Oobleck spoke, snickering with Port. Port then added, "I actually have been sensing something going on between the two. I never knew that Glinda would be the emotional type." Glinda just huffed as she walked away, leaving the two gossiping teachers. A large brick fell on top of them as they groaned in pain. "That minx," Port muttered as tears poured out en masse from the two. Ozpin's office. "So, what do you say?" Ozpin asked Naruto, who smirked. "Nope, I wouldn't be able to make it. I have something to do. It seems you will have to welcome the new students with the teachers available." Ozpin blinked in surprise. I thought you would have liked to see Ruby Rose, well, and our potential hunters and huntresses. Yeah, but this comes at a higher priority. I have to find someone. Osmond nodded his head before shrugging, he looked at the bookshelf behind him. Naruto began to walk towards the door when Osmond muttered, Glinda spoke to me earlier. It reminded me of her. Naruto stopped mid-stride, his features hidden from view. I see. He didn't turn towards Osmond, just staying still. Osmond sighed in resignation, a mirthless countenance on his face. Naruto then spoke, his voice taking a serious tone. We will find her, Osmond. The fact that you haven't been able to for this long isn't helping matters. We have been through a lot, Naruto. You have been through worse, but… Naruto smirked, this is just a minor setback. Just have faith, Osmond. He walked on, moving to the door. We are going to find her, one way or another. Osmond frowned, looking at Naruto's retreating figure. In this context you mean either dead or alive, don't you? Naruto didn't reply, he just moved away. Osmond just sighed and removed his glasses, looking to the ceiling in regret. Decades ago. Elemental Nations Konoha. I have told you my story, let me hear your answer. Nagato was seen in across Naruto as Konan stood beside him. Naruto closed his eyes remembering Yahiko's earlier words. To create peace, how will you face this hatred? I want to hear your answer. Naruto looked fiercely at Nagato, I came to the conclusion that you are right, but wrong. Mankind can never understand each other, and those who can are in the smallest minority and are snuffed out before they can say anything or voice their thoughts, but the means that you are going about it is wrong. Nagato listened on. Naruto clenched his fist, your means will bring peace for a short time, and after that, there will be not only the 4th, but the 5th, 6th, and 7th Shinobi World War. And so it will continue till this world has destroyed itself from fighting. So what are you saying? Nagato asked. I now know how hard it was shouldering all this. Naruto spoke in understanding, smiling mirthlessly. Konan looked at him, the hatred you had to bear, but at the same time, you forged ahead because you saw the bigger picture, peace at our time. Naruto looked to Nagato sternly, I am a sage, connected to the life energy of the universe. I can see that you are dying, but I assure you I will do it. And make sure the peace we achieve would be more permanent. And how do you plan on doing it? Nagato asked curiously as Naruto smirked. You plan on achieving temporary peace though destruction, and as the rubble settle, so does the concept of peace. But how about destroying the world to a point where it cannot recover from? Naruto spoke as Nagato's eyes widened, you wanted the world to feel pain and through it understand each other, but giving them eternal pain. By leaving a permanent mark on this world, they will all be reminded of the remedies of peace day in, day out. Peace will then be achieved, and I will take it on. Eternal pain, I wonder what you mean by that. Nagato mused. Regardless, if you will follow this route, people will die, and you will lose people close to you, people you will grow to love. Konan looked solemnly at the comment. Will you still be able to do that, Uzumaki Naruto? Will you be able to detach a piece of yourself to bring the world together? Naruto closed his eyes in thought as he examined himself. Many times I had failed to make the right decisions because I was afraid of what the new world held. Of what I would have to go into, but not anymore. I will take it all on, the hatred, the rage, everything. Naruto turned away, walking slowly outside, I will end this all, I assure you. Nagato spoke, wait. Naruto stopped and turned, seeing Nagato looking at him seriously, I believe you Uzumaki Naruto. Perhaps this is the time in which people who understand each other can voice out to the world. Naruto walked across the barren land that was Konoha. He saw the destruction, clenching his fist. Naruto. Inoichi called out as he and Shikaku landed beside him. Naruto remained motionless. His expression hidden from the aged shinobi. Inoichi looked at him, did you win? Naruto didn't reply to him. He kept his eyes closed, tears flowing freely. He took in the deaths of the entire village, his loved ones. He then muttered as his tears began to take a reddish color. Blood mixing in. From Tsunade, Kakashi, Hinata to each life that was lost. Shikaku's eyes widened. Naruto, you. Shikaku and Inoichi looked at Naruto in shock as he looked at the village. In possession of the Rinnegan. The ringed eyes looked in pain. Glowing in power. Did I really win? Chapter 3. Bliss. Decades ago. Elemental Nations. Naruto stood in the middle of the barren Konoha. Lives and properties were completely destroyed, and what was left was an empty shell of what the village once was. Once standing tall as the strongest village in the Elemental Nations, Konoha was now reduced to nothing. Currently, the survivors were grieving considerably, so their discussions about rebuilding were on hold. The people needed to bring themselves back together before thinking of doing the same to the structures. The wind rippled through the hollow and broken village, sending dust and light debris billowing to the skies. Naruto closed his eyes, inhaling and exhaling. His expression showed him in deep contemplation. He was about to make a choice that was bigger than himself and bigger than the village. You wanted to see me. An elderly voice spoke behind him. Naruto straightened his face before he turned to look at an interested Danzo. Naturally they hadn't gotten the time to talk, but Naruto had learnt about him. Most of the time he went to the Hokage's office to see the third Hokage, he crossed paths with Danzo who looked at him like some sort of disappointment. Learning of his position as someone who controlled the darkness of the village gave Naruto everything to know why he was disappointed. Later on, he was approached by Danzo himself, who bluntly told him he wanted to make him into a weapon for the leaf to protect the stability of Konoha and the world. If it was a while ago, Naruto wouldn't be able to stomach the decision, but now, he considered if the village would have been saved if he was a weapon. He loved this village more than anything, and he was ready to do anything to save it. Why he still did despite the hatred towards him was the amount of bonds he was able to create. He made friends that he considered special to him to an insane degree. Do you think this village would have been protected had I agreed to your offer? Naruto asked as Danzo looked nonchalantly at the question. When the tide passes, we all think about what we would have done to prevent the flood. I hardly think my answer will be able to change what has happened. Konoha can be rebuilt. Our strength can be recovered. Naruto nodded his head in agreement, that goes without a fact, but why I called you here isn't because of that. Well, let's hear it then. The daimyo along with the selected leaders of the council are going to decide on the position of Hokage. Naruto spoke, shifting his gaze towards the Hokage face statues. Kakashi-sensei and Tsunade are dead. The only obvious choices will be either of us, and if things go smoothly without any interference, I would be chosen. You have known that, right? And you called to tell me this, why? To gloat. I want you to become Hokage. Naruto declared with all seriousness as Danzo's loan slightly widened in slight surprise. He chuckled as he asked, why this decision? I have to go away for a while to find some answers. I believe with you Konoha's strength can be boosted greatly and quickly. You have the experience and manpower, not to mention your control of root. I thought on the situation, cheers and laughter will go a long way in restoring the people's spirits, but we need to regain our strength before anyone decides to make a move on us. You are the only one currently that can do that. Is this you asking for permission from the future Hokage then? Something like that. Danzo mused as he weighed the choices before speaking, letting the village's Jinchuriki to leave the village is too much of a risk, you know that, but still, you were able to take down the leader of the Akatsuki. Which means you can take care of yourself if your trip goes sideways. I would like to receive constant progress from your journey. Do you agree to that? Fair enough. That wouldn't be a problem. That is, if I am Hokage, you can't leave just yet. On another hand, can I see it? Naruto arched an eyebrow in confusion as Danzo gestured to the eye in curiosity. Naruto smirked before deactivating a seal, revealing the Rinnegan. Danzo looked slightly awed, divine, to think this was a myth. It suits you. This power will definitely be critical in Konoha's rise to power. We need that because right now if even Suna attempts to attack us, we will be defeated. Ara wouldn't do that. Naruto spoke, chuckling while activating the seal, disguising the Rinnegan. Danzo nodded his head in agreement, a benefit of having you here, Uzumaki. Not intentional, but the bridge between Suna and Konoha will remain for a long time. You seem to grasp some of the abilities of the Rinnegan. Not really, I figured out way to disguise it using a seal. From my battle with Nagato, I have gotten ideas to try and train my power, though seeing how destructive it could be, Naruto gestured to the village, I cannot do that here. Danzo nodded in agreement as Naruto concluded, I've spoken to Shikaku and Inoichi, and they fully agree with my decision. Though Shikaku really has reservations about you being Hokage, but he has acquiesced due to the situation. Who would have thought that hyperactive kid will turn out to be you? Danzo chuckled, I will be seeing you, Uzumaki. If I may ask, where are you heading to first? Naruto looked to the skies with a sigh, he then began walking away, I'm planning to first get some answers. I'll be heading to Yuzushiogakure. Prologue 3. Bliss. Present timeline. Pale evening. Old trees bordered a large park and helped to block the sounds from the city. Within the large park a peaceful haven was visible. The entrance was a narrow path of flat green grass that gradually widened as it led into the wide field of grass. The path was bordered by flowers and shrubs that glimmered under the sunset, as well as widely branched trees that acted like a canopy over the path. The rays from the sunset shone through the spaces between the trees, bringing out the beauty of the region. The sounds from the region came from the rustle of the leaves as the birds fluttered among them, whistling merrily to each other. The gentle wind, aided by the natural windbreakers, blew through the branches, spreading the sweet smell of lilies and other flowers that lined the park. This is not what I actually pictured when you suggested this. Glinda spoke in complete surprise, finding herself right at the middle of the park. She wore a much more casual clothing than her usual school attire. I'd be much less surprised if it was something like those amusement parks those kids love. Oh please, a date is more fun this way, not boring each other out in a restaurant. Naruto grinned as he placed his right arm over her shoulders and snickered at her reaction. He didn't notice the slight blush that emerged on Glinda's face at his action. He was still that dense after so many years. She then blinked. Wait a date. He wore a simple black jacket over a round-necked orange t-shirt and black trousers. Naruto smiled and crouched, placing his hands for the little squirrel that ran towards him. Glinda blinked in surprise as he pet the little creature, which seemed to relax in his presence. I just love places like this. They're quite a few when you consider the amount all over Remnant. This was a side different from the lazy employee she was accustomed to. Sure, he might still be a delinquent, but this showed her that apart from being occlusive to most of her inquiries, there was a degree of good in him. Something possibly pure. So, do you like it? Glinda blinked at the question, blushing in embarrassment after being caught staring. Naruto just laughed it off as he placed the squirrel on his shoulder and stood up. I agree with you. It's quite peaceful. Though I'm really confused. Why? As to why you brought me here. I see. Well, my answer is quite simple. You seem to need this. Glinda blinked. I don't see it like this. Naruto smiled as he looked to the clouds and inhaled. At some point in our lives, we get to experience something. Be it loss, a great degree of stress, anything. I don't know what's yours, but I know it's there. You're quite good at hiding it, you know. I usually found that immersing yourself in nature makes you see how little your troubles are compared to the size of this world. Anyways, I'm just rambling, he began to mumble a bit with a frown. I was not always a teacher, you know. Shaking his head to rid himself of his thoughts, he looked to her. He scratched his head as he tried to find the right words. What I'm saying is, if you need some time to think or to be at peace, you can always come here. Glinda let out a chuckle before it evolved into laughter, puzzling Naruto, considering he hadn't seen her laugh. She held her stomach as she laughed at the situation, making Naruto's eyebrow twitch a bit. He began to look around in nervousness. Why are you laughing? Her laughter slowly died down as she smiled in understanding and nodded her head. I got it. She closed her eyes and inhaled. Letting out a soft chuckle, she muttered with a grateful smile. Thanks. Naruto blinked in surprise before he let out a smile and sat on the grass. He let out a pout. I don't know why you were laughing though. You're not that good with words, are you? I guess. Naruto laughed a bit. I tend to ramble a lot. Even after all these years, I haven't gotten a handle on it. Glinda smiled and moved down to sit on the grass. The cool breeze swept through the region, causing her loosened hair to flow with the current. She closed her eyes and took in the scent of the park. You're right. It's beautiful, right? Naruto looked at her, completely stunned at the way the light hit her face. He gulped. Yeah, very. So do you want to tell me why you were jaded today? Her tone was completely different. It seemed like the disciplinarian that was back in school vanished, and right here was a much more grounded Glinda. I met a past friend. Glinda looked at him. Past. Where I was born, we were brought up to be shy soldiers, and we were quite young, you know. Naruto smiled as Glinda widened her eyes. Naruto rested his back and watched a group of birds heading towards the sun's direction. In the beginning we were all carried away that we had a chance to act like how heroes were in the books. Not knowing what the very same people we adored had to do so we could live in peace. You see, stories written as fiction always strays away from the blood and the darkness that surrounds each person. They coat them with words and history that makes them seem infallible, perfect, and the villains with blood and darkness that makes them irredeemable, not knowing life is more complex than good and bad. Naruto exhaled, closing his eyes. Anyways, I'm straying away. As I said, I had a past friend and I met him recently. We always fought over the smallest of things, wanting to one-up each other, but there was this bond, I don't know what to call it, but it was there. Glinda smiled. Like brothers. Naruto let out a short, mirthless smile. Yay, like brothers. What happened? We were part of a team and he betrayed us to seek revenge against someone because all he wanted was power. Glinda looked at him in understanding. He told me that if he had a chance, he would kill me, even if it meant being part of the Grimm. What does that mean? Naruto widened his eyes as he looked to Glinda, realizing who he was talking to. For just a brief moment, he thought he was talking to. I don't know. Glinda closed her eyes as she let out a smile. There is a lot that I don't know about you. I'm guessing you probably don't trust me fully, and I accept that. It's not that. Naruto chuckled. To be honest, it's all in my head. I don't even know what he sighed in defeat. Here I am, in lack of words. Glinda just looked to the distance to see the squirrel from before playing with another. I am the last of 5 siblings, well, we were 5. Naruto blinked in surprise. My father was real tough on us as he expected us to be top-tier hunters and huntresses. The fact that they became such successes put an even higher pressure on me to follow their footsteps. Glinda had a pained expression as Naruto smiled at her. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, was it? She didn't answer, just kept looking forward. Naruto smiled in understanding. Well. Apparently we might have something in common after all apart from our blonde hair. What are you talking about? Glinda asked puzzled. Naruto smirked and sat up. Life hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows either. I kind of suspected. From what I have observed from you and Ozpin, something tells me it wasn't in a good moment you met him. Your parents both died, huh? You are awfully on point, aren't you? Naruto muttered, chuckling, looking at Glinda, who reciprocated the look. She smiled at him as the setting sun gave a beautiful setting almost like a painting. Leaving the rest to the imagination. Well, it wasn't like that. Naruto looked from a distance towards Ozpin and Glinda as they moderated the new recruits into Beacon Academy. His eyes slowly moved towards Ruby, thinking back to the clip of Ruby's battle which Ozpin had shown him. To think I would meet two of you people in possession of this power in this lifetime. Things will definitely become complicated in the future. Ozpin said my job was just to watch them in case they mess up or are about to get killed. He observed the students. Meh, they'd be able to handle whatever's in the forest. That John kid though. Looks like a wimp, huh, needs a good reshaping. Naruto's eyes slowly widened. K. Kurama. Missed you too, brat. Naruto smiled in relief. Where the hell have you been? Away from the bitchy parts of your life. It's good to be back though. I had thought Sasuke and Danzo had. That Uchiha brat got nothing on the tailed beasts. Using the demonic statue was always a stupid plan of theirs. All he could do was suppress me in your mindscape, not control me. I've become resistant to that. I was reforming at a slow rate though. My power still coursed in you nevertheless, I could still note what was happening around you. It's been an eventful amount of years for you. I see you haven't gone to see the other tailed beasts. After all that's happened, I'm sure they will not want to see me. Naruto said as Kurama scoffed. I wouldn't want to see me. What I did. Naruto closed his eyes in resignation. I'm still surprised you stuck with me all these while. Just because you went a different path from the old man doesn't mean they will hate you forever, they will get over it. We are beings of millennia. You may think that we care, but we actually don't give a crap as to the well-being of the world. Naruto chuckled. No matter how you look at it, this world is much more peaceful than what you had to fight through. Conflict will always arise, that is something you must get used to. These Grimm though are a really big problem. You know what happened. The fact that you pissed it off is not good. I can't believe you managed to grab their attention. Kurama laughed. You sure are unpredictable. That woman. Glinda is it? Her attitude and behavior is familiar. Is that why? Naruto's silence caused Kurama to chuckle. You dumb blondes. I see you tinkered with my powers while I was asleep. I could feel it in that cat girl. Kurama. Naruto deadpanned, you know she has some of your traits, right? Mutated traits. Kurama corrected. Can't believe I let you tinker with my attributes. They would have been dead by now if I hadn't. Their bodies, unlike mine, can't handle full demonic chakra in their systems. Whatever, oh, seems they are going to head out. Hey. You aren't going after them. Nah. I have better things to do. Like what? Cloud watching. Why, you're kidding, right? Nope. Besides, they can handle themselves. Kurama sighed. Shikamaru would be truly proud of you. So, what do you think? Ozpin asked as Naruto looked at the forms detailing the teams. I agree with you on the groups. But instead of Weiss, make Ruby the team leader. Any reason, perhaps? It's just that I think she'd need the experience more. It's essential. Besides, from their battle in the Emerald Forest, it should be her. She has a quality that I have been searching for a while. Why did you make Weiss the leader anyway? Naruto asked, puzzled as Ozpin chuckled. He elaborated. She has this arrogant character of hers. Reminds you of someone? Naruto asked rhetorically. Ozpin groaned before ruffling his hair. Anyways, I thought to do to her exactly what you did to me. Being in charge can change you. In your case, someone actually paid for your mistake. Naruto spoke seriously. But this isn't the same. What makes you think it isn't? Is it because the setting's different? It's better you do not try the same mistake twice, that would come to hurt you again. Ozpin sighed as he clenched his fist. No, I wouldn't. Years ago. I'm out of charity tonight. If you choose, keep your head bowed and bent on your life's path. I have a lot of plans with someone of your potential. With what I can sense in you, I do hope to see you as a wolf someday, not some sheep in need of saving. Until then, remember the one you fear the most. The white-haired girl gasped as she awoke, finding herself in the darkened forest. She looked around in the night in fear, examining her arms. Noting some black markings receding back into her body. Where am I? She asked aloud in confusion. Her head was hit with a very powerful migraine. She grunted in pain, grabbing her head as her vision became blurry. She felt sick and nauseous. What is happening to me? She panted, and slowly, she lifted her little frame up looking for her location. She could see the Grimm slowly disintegrating around her. Their stench filling the atmosphere. She looked around before heading to a tree. Grunting, she climbed upwards and looked straight to the distance, noting the wide span of the forest. She sighed in disappointment before moving forward aimlessly, trying to find something or anything that might give her a clue as to where she was. Hours passed and she trudged forth lazily, trying to muster up any energy left in her body to move forward. She couldn't. "I can't die here. I just can't," she gasped, falling to the earth in pain. Her vision was distorted, she was slowly moving to unconsciousness. "Mom, Dad, I can't die here." A figure immediately landed in front of her. Craning her head slightly, she could see a boy her age. He knelt down and helped her up to sit. "Here, drink." He placed a bottle of water to her lips, to which she drank greedily. She sighed in slight relief as she began to breathe easily. Looking to her savior, she saw a silver-haired boy with dark eyes looking concerned at her well-being. Convinced that she was resuscitated, he commented, "I never thought someone survived that onslaught. The Grim has been acting up lately more than usual. Maybe Master knows what's going on." She looked confused as the boy smiled nicely at her. She gulped. "Who are you?" "I'm Osban, and you?" "I am Salem." Chapter 4. Entreaty. Decades ago. Izushiogakure. "I don't believe it." Naruto stared forward in surprise, gazing intently towards a group of masks arranged on a shrine. He was seen to be in a hall, randomly filled with ruins of the village. Strangely, the shrine still stood as pristine as ever, not showing a sign of abandonment on it. Absent of dust, cobwebs and cracks to show its age. The hall was hoisted by 9 pillars which were embroidered with multiple seals to keep the integrity of the hall for years to come. 9 masks were observed on the wall of the shrine. All bearing motifs of different identities. The dragon, tiger and bird masks were on the top, followed by the tortoise, snake and a plain mask that was pristinely white. A glow visible on the outline. The last 3 masks were the most strange. The first was a pure black fox mask that looked eerily alive. Its eye holes seemingly returned the look Naruto gave towards it. The next mask was similar in description, only that the color was white. The last mask was the shape of a human skull. Having an aura of death surrounding it. Naruto narrowed his eyes, muttering, "The 9 masked beasts, commend you. I thought it was a myth. It seems that the Uzumaki were very resourceful." He moved forward till he was directly in front of the shrine. He then began to speak. "Seryu, Byako, Suzaku, Genbu, Kinja, Tenyo, Hakuto Senin, Nanto Senin Shinigami. The representation of the divinities of this world." He looked in contemplation before activating his Rinnegan. The dark purple Dojutsu glowed in the darkness, adding to the already sparse amount of light in the hall. He moved his right hand, grabbing the skeletal mask. The Shinigami, and removed it. The mask glowed in response to the contact. Naruto shivered slightly, a cold mist emerging from his lips. He could feel the aura surrounding the mask. Death itself. With a determined gaze, he quickly placed the mask above his face. And a deep rumble echoed through the hall. Naruto gasped, immediately going down to his knees. He wheezed in discomfort and suddenly, a thick mist filled the hall, filling every crevice. The hall began to shake in power as cracks appeared through the earth floor. The gray specter of light emerged from the mask on Naruto's face and crashed to the earth in front of him. The mist then began to recede, with Naruto regaining his composure and standing up slightly. He looked forward, huffing slightly, a bead of sweat descending from his head. He observed a figure forming within the receding mist. The mask on Naruto's face dropped down, and before it could touch the ground, it flew into the mist. The mist receded finally, showing the Shinigami wearing the mask on its face. Its voice was like a hoarse whisper, spoken simply, but yet the power behind each word felt. "To think I would be summoned in this way. It has been a long time." Naruto looked ahead in slight shock. "It worked, huh? To think right in front of me is the Shinigami." "You boy, Uzumaki Naruto." The Shinigami muttered, making Naruto's eyes to narrow. "You wield a great power coveted by many. Why you have come here though, I wonder. The last person who came here asked questions that led to the world today. He had similar eyes to yours." "Similar eyes, you mean the Rakuto Senin?" Naruto asked with widened eyes. "It has been eons since me, Hagoromo. The fact that you are here means this world will take a drastic turn. What direction though, I have no inclination towards that, nor do I care. You know my name. I know the name of every being that walks through this earth. Well, you all will die someday, right? Besides, I believe I've had an encounter with you when you were born. I'm sure you know that now." Naruto looked at the Shinigami. The being able to seal away the Kyuubi without much of an effort, he was led to presume. "Now, why did you summon me, Uzumaki? To be honest, the other deities are more garrulous than me. I hate to waste time with frivolous things that pose no benefit to me." The Shinigami asked, looking at Naruto. "Garrulous?" Naruto asked in confusion, prompting an amused reaction from the death god. "I meant more forthcoming with answers." Naruto smiled slightly in bashfulness. "I don't actually know why I summoned you specifically. I just went with it." Besides, you said it yourself, you've had a personal encounter with me before. Agreed. Naruto looked at the Shinigami, a contemplating expression on his face. He didn't even know how to broach the subject, it was all so surreal. He didn't even know if the answers were available. The Shinigami, noting his confliction, spoke, "You have a new power bestowed upon you. I assume it has to do with the influx of souls that graced my domain." Souls? You mean the people in Konoha? A pained expression emerged on his face, "Are they all right?" Contrary to most speculation, my domain is a quite peaceful place. It's where the souls come to rest. No longer hindered by pressures of your world. You're a deity, right? Can't you do something about it? What this world goes through? Naruto asked. The war, the endless fighting, the… No, we do not interfere with what happens here, no matter what. Only when the situation is dire. Dire? Dire? Do you even know what this world has been going through? Naruto yelled in fury. Caused by Shinobi. The Shinigami replied impassively, not showing any sign of budging on his answer. Hence, Shinobi will fix it. Naruto clenched his fist, unable to reply before looking down to the earth. The Shinigami then added, "One thing you have yet to understand fully, Uzumaki, is that this world desires war. It's an active process burned deeply into every person alive. Even you, even though you haven't felt it. What is happening is just a side effect. The world will stabilize itself and resume to its nature, and eventually war again. Stability and instability, the core of the cycle that revolves this world. You can't do anything about it. It's balance." "I need to know." Naruto asked, a fierce look on his face. "What did the Rakuto-sennin come to ask you?" It was then the Shinigami chuckled, his mask taking the shape of a grin, "That, Uzumaki, is between I and him. If I feel the need to divulge the contents of our meeting, I will do so. So you don't care at all what happens to this world. You don't care of the pain everyone feels due to this crude cycle, this behavior you call balance." Naruto yelled in anger. "I have never cared, why should I now? The other deities feel the same way, and slowly, if you even notice it, the world has been better for it." "Better?" Naruto looked pissed as his Rinnegan glowed in response to his anger. "I lost everyone I cared about. I lost my friends, I lost my parents, I lost people I looked up to. I lost people I viewed as my family. How is that any better? Tell me." The hall trembled as Naruto heaved in and out in exhaustion. This was too much. "It's because it's you." The Shinigami spoke, "You will never understand because you think of yourself, not the world. We are impartial, what happens is in the interest of the world. Not you." Naruto gained an astonished look before he then began to chuckle. The Shinigami looked forward in confusion as Naruto's chuckle evolved to full-blown laughter. His laughter echoed through the hall. An eerie sound emerging from the crevices. "I see." His chuckle died out in the hall before he lowered his head. His gaze shadowed, "Then it means only we can fix it, huh? Break the cycle." Naruto looked back to the Shinigami, whose grin returned to the impassive emotion on its mask. "I will now ask you my question. Tell me everything, everything about the beginning of this world up to this moment." Prologue 4. Entreaty. Naruto walked into the lecture hall and noted the noisy class, smiling in nostalgia. "Brings back memories." He remarked, "But to think I would be a lecturer later on. Ozpin must be crazy. Heck, I must be crazy." Naruto silently walked to his seat, his silent footsteps unheard to most of the class. He just went and sat on the teacher's chair and examined all of them. His gaze moved from the top downwards before meeting Blake's gaze. Out of all the people in the class, she seemed to be the only one that noticed his arrival. Her eyes looked at him in shock then confusion. "Very sensitive, I guess." Naruto smirked at her, to which she returned in hesitation. His gaze traveled towards Ruby to see her bickering with Weiss. Beside them, Yang just sighed in resignation before looking forward. Her eyes blinked, noting the blonde hair. "Who's that?" Weiss looked towards Naruto before she gasped, "Oh boy. It's the teacher. It's Professor Uzumaki." Naruto's eyebrow twitched at the name, Professor Uzumaki. "What am I, an old man? Come on." Quickly clapping his hands, he caught the entire student's attention. Ruby looked in shock. The class becoming silent. "As in, the Professor Uzumaki?" She whispered to Weiss, who looked starstruck. "Yes, like one of the strongest hunters ever. It is said he even stared a Grim to death." "Okay, isn't that a bit ridiculous?" Yang muttered, an arched eyebrow on her face. She then turned towards Naruto and smirking, "I must admit though, he's cute. Look at those whiskers, you'd want to cuddle him to death." Naruto's eyebrow twitched, "Cute? I've passed the age of cute. What the hell is up with this class? They remind me of a certain class. All we need is a dark-haired emo. Oh, there he is." Kurama drawled, chuckling in amusement. Naruto deadpanned as he saw Ren with an uninterested expression while a lady fidgeted over him. Considering the pink color she seemed to like, Naruto wasn't pleased at the nostalgia he was getting from this class. "Okay, that's too similar." "That told you?" Naruto calmed down and smiled to the entire class. Weiss though was quite fidgety on her seat, thoughts spiraling in and out at an insane rate. Oh my god, he saw me arguing with Ruby. What must he think of me now? It's Ruby's fault, definitely Ruby's fault, yes Ruby's fault. Oh god, he must think that I'm too noisy. Damn you Ruby. Ruby looked worried towards Weiss who seemed angry at her for some reason. Oh, are you okay? Weiss looked around, randomly as a blush was seen across her face staring towards Naruto. John looked from Weiss to Naruto and then looked back. A dark expression came over his face, oh hell no. Naruto stood up and walked closer to the seats. I'm Naruto, pleased to meet you. I'm sure you have become more acquainted with the school. So officially I'm welcoming you to Beacon Academy. Things will definitely be out of the norm here which is to be expected, so I'm wishing you luck. The student smiled in response, Ruby then commented, well he seems nice. Ye Yang added, I know Weiss thinks so too. The team looked towards Weiss who looked love-struck, to which Naruto's had an exasperated expression. You've got to be kidding me. Oh boy. Ruby spoke in worry. Well, my area of teaching is more practical, that's why it's the last one today. Naruto continued trying to ignore Weiss's stare. You all should come with me. Stay with your teams by the way. Naruto spoke before walking out of the class, promptly followed by all the students. Team rwby were among the last teams to step out, moving slowly. Ruby mused, I wonder what we are going to do. Probably a group battle. Yang answered, to which Blake nodded in agreement, seems like it. Ruby seemingly clenched her fist in anticipation, oh this is so exciting, and to think Uncle Crow said I would meet him here. Yang arched an eyebrow, he did. What did he say? You should ask him. Well, Hello there Weiss. John interrupted the discussion, followed by the rest of his team. How you doing today? Weiss groaned, snapping out of her thoughts, to which Ruby chuckled. She decided to wave at them. Hello John, Purah, Ren, Nora. Yang looked forward, what the? The students looked around in awe at the huge courtyard they were currently in. Its structure was similar to that of a coliseum. Naruto, who was in front of the students, moved to a podium at the middle. Come together everyone. Now I would like you to pay attention to what we are going to do here. This entire coliseum is a battle simulator. Naruto spoke out to the shock of the students. A battle simulator? Ruby spoke in awe, this would be awesome. My course revolves round the adaptation of your surroundings during your fight against Grim. Like in the forest where you held your trials, this will be more detailed in where you are. Be it a snowy forest, scorching desert and whatever. We are planning to use this for the vital festival that's coming up, so use this as a chance to get to understand its inner workings. Now for a demonstration. Naruto smirked, outstretching his hands. Just a simple use of chakra and bomb. The entire coliseum changed immediately to a snowy landscape, to the shock of the students. The entire students gaped at the location they were now in. It took a while for the shock factor to cool down before they began to shiver due to the cold. It feels so real. Weiss spoke out, reacting the least to the cold. Why are you not cold? Ruby asked, breathing out cold mist from her lips. She wasn't all that cold due to her attire. The skimpily dressed ones though were a different story. Eye semblance duh. Weiss spoke out. Naruto chuckled at their reactions. This was a course he asked Osmond to create when he made him the headmaster of Beacon. He wanted to keep a closer watch on the students as a teacher. He also wanted something fun, and so they came to this. John looked around, his armor helping his body to preserve heat. This is relay bright light shining from below drew his attention. He looked down to see the sword at his waist glowing slightly, what the hell? Suddenly it died down, prompting a confused expression from John. Must be my imagination. Naruto sighed, to think that sword would detect the technique. I really am a genius. Wow, you're still as arrogant as I remember. Oh yay, you created that thing in the land of iron and those other weapons of yours. My memory's a bit fuzzy. Kurama spoke before muttering. You might want to get to business though. Naruto smirked before returning the landscape back to normal. Now if all of you could move away. I'm going to show you exactly how to fight these grim and tough situations that you may find yourselves in. As soon as I'm done, a couple of you will come and show me what you've learned. Understood? Yes, Professor. That was awesome. Ruby spoke out in giddiness while the quartet moved towards their dorm room. It was quite impressive. Blake muttered, her arms folded. She looked deep in thought, thinking of Naruto. Impressive? Ruby asked, appalled. It was great. He blindfolded himself and didn't use his hands, yet he totally wiped out the Grim. He was awesome. Wow, someone has a fan, but I agree with Ruby. Weiss spoke out, it was quite amazing. To think someone with such talent existed. Well, what I want to do right now is go to bed and sleep off today. It was really stressful, Yang groaned, opening the door. Ruby snickered, that's what you get after fighting in a desert. It's strange, I've never heard of a simulator of that scale. Weiss spoke out in thought. It seems Beacon has a higher technology than we could comprehend. Does it matter? Ruby spoke out, I'm beginning to like it here at Beacon. I miss Sigil though. Yay, yay. Let's talk about Weiss's newly discovered crush. Yang spoke giddily, earning an embarrassed blush from Weiss. Please don't. Weiss pleaded, to which Ruby giggled. Oh dear Weiss, why would you let us have that information? Weiss sighed. This was going to be a long day for her. Osmond chuckled, you loved freaking them out, huh? Battle simulator, it wasn't a bad idea. You were watching. Like you didn't know. Naruto was sitting across him, rotating the chair he was on. I had to think of something to derail their thoughts. They wouldn't be able to handle the secret behind it. His eyes slowly narrowed at the door. Well, any progress? Osmond asked, as the office turning silent. Any luck locating her? I have some suspicions as to where she is, but I can't go there. Naruto spoke silently, prompting a confused expression from Osmond. What are you talking about? I haven't been able to sense her in this plane of existence. Simply putting, she is not here, in the physical realm. What? Is that even possible? Osmond's eyes widened a bit. If you've seen half of what I've encountered, you'd be more accepting. Naruto's face became stern, the situation is becoming critical. I have a suspicion that Torchwick and Taurus could be involved with her. In what way I don't know. She is alive, that I know, I can just feel it. Her power is growing noticeable, that it's slightly jarring. This is bad, really bad. I will concentrate my efforts in capturing him and discerning any information I can. We have no choice but to continue things here. We must not lose focus, understood? Osmond nodded his head. The knock was heard as Osmond looked up in slight alarm. Come in. Linda simply entered the office. The mock tournament's tomorrow. The moderators would like your input on the various arrangements. Will you be able to make it today? She spoke, to which Osmond nodded his head. Yes, I'd be right there. Naruto, we'll continue later. Naruto nodded as Osmond got up and began to walk to the door. The grim expression he had on his face vanished as he stood up, leaving Naruto and Glinda, who looked at his retreating form. When he was out of sight, Naruto looked at Glinda. You heard all that, didn't you? Glinda remained impassive. What were you talking about? We were looking for someone, an old friend. I see. Glinda remarked, doubt on her features. Do you trust me, Glinda? Glinda looked befuddled at the question. Huh? What are you talking about? Naruto got up and moved closer to Glinda. If you do, I want you to know that what I'm doing is protecting you all. Glinda's eyes widened, seeing a purple glow in his eyes. But if you still want to know, then you must willing to shoulder the possible burden of what's coming. Touching her shoulder, Glinda's eyes widened as a vision went through her head. She found herself in front of Beacon, fire consuming everything in its path and lava falling from the skies. The school was completely destroyed. Its foundations ruptured. A huge explosion of fire graced the land beginning from the center of the kingdom, burying everything within its blast. Glinda looked ahead at the incoming attack, but couldn't sew anything to stop it. She couldn't move, couldn't react. The attack came forth, enveloping her in a bright light. Things are coming, Glinda. Things even I do not have a handle on. I really hope you'd know what to do before then. Naruto then smiled at her conflicted look. See you, Glinda. Naruto left her speechless form and walked out of the office. Why yay. In the cold airy night, a warehouse was seen in the distance. The multiple people that moved in and out were all noted to be wearing a white mask. An airship then landed in front of it, prompting the people to quickly move inside the warehouse. The door opened and Torchwick stepped out, followed by a hooded woman. He muttered, I don't know why people are such greedy creatures, Cindy. I understand my reasoning, but seriously. You work under someone and try to steal their product. Torchwick was seen moving into the warehouse with a woman named Cinderfall. In the warehouse, a large number of individuals were in attendance, all wearing the same mask. They stood up in loyalty, guarding a passageway to the end of the warehouse. The man was seen on his knees, held by two masked individuals, a sackcloth over his face. Getting to him, Cinderfall nodded her head, to which the man on the right removed the sackcloth to reveal a red-haired man, his face beaten and bloodied. Cinder sighed, walking till she was directly before him. The man shivered in fear, unable to look at her. She chuckled, looking down on his terrified visage. It's a matter of ambition. She spoke, crouching down to his level. No, let me rephrase that. It's a matter of limitation and the importance of knowing yours. The man gritted his bloody teeth, fiercely looking at her at the sound of her voice. Your boss Torchwick has a reputation all over Remnant, yes. But he also knows where he stands, understands how high he should climb. That's why she let him be the man he is. His methods, although crude, are beneficial to our cause. The man's black pupils shifted to Torchwick in plea, but Torchwick's gaze was impassive to his plight. Torchwick's grip on his walking cane tightened, the man looking towards it in fear. Cinder chuckled, noting his gaze. Don't mind him, I am a reasonable woman, he is a reasonable man. Like you, we have ambitions. But you see. The man gritted his teeth, shivering in fear, staring at Torchwick. Cinder used her right hand and guided his focus back to her. In this world of ours, it's really more of a one step at a time kind of thing. You were commander of a squad. And you should have known where your limitations stood. The man stammered, Torchwick will. Torchwick will do nothing to save you from your current position, ask him if you wish. Cinder spoke, smiling, we gave you a chance. You chose yourself, your greed before our cause. It's not our fault that it came to this, it was yours actually. Cinder nodded towards Torchwick, who moved till he was beside him. The man struggled but couldn't move, the two men holding him down. Please. He begged profusely, I have a family. I can't leave them now. Cinder promptly ignored him, muttering, so I guess this brings us back full circle. Ambition and limitation. Watch closely, this is what happens to traitors, we are at a delicate time for our motives, and we cannot fail now. Torchwick lifted his cane and pointed it towards the man's head, the lid to the noose opening. Torchwick. Please don't do this. My Fami. I already told you when we first met. Torchwick muttered impassively, don't worry Saul, I would take care of them. They wouldn't have anything to worry about. You kept them out of this life of yours. So would we. No. A shot to Saul's head shut him up as his blood coated the concrete floor. Chapter end. Chapter 5. Curse. Cinder looked at the remains of Saul on the floor of the warehouse. She smirked and walked away, Torchwick moving alongside her. Clean this up. Torchwick ordered the members, who quickly moved to take care of the mess. Walking towards the door, Cinder stopped and looked back at Torchwick, whose gaze didn't shift from hers. His family, will they be a problem? Torchwick shifted his head in the negative, no, they don't even know if he's alive or dead. Cinder then nodded her head. We need to move. Saul has laid us back a bit. The amount of dust he diverted is not negligible. She walked ahead before stopping a bit. You seem to hold an attachment for him, or rather, he seemed to trust you. Torchwick didn't reply to Cinder's words. Regardless, she continued, her eyes narrowing, that's why you asked me to let you kill him. You know if I had laid my hands on him he would have wished for death. He was employed by me. I took responsibility. Let's leave it at that. Torchwick spoke simply, an inexpressive emotion on his face. Cinder smirked and moved to the airship, let's move, we need to get to Vacuo. Taurus has something for us there. Hopefully something to soothe this loss. The airship slowly took off. As Torchwick looked through a window, sparing a glance to Saul's dead body which was quickly moved away. Prologue 5. Curse. Pura was seen on the bed in her dormitory. She looked at the ceiling fan. Sporadic thoughts coming in and out of her head. A distant expression was seen on her face. Her emotions on the surface. Nora walked into the room, skimping on her feet, seeing Pura on her bed she smiled, oh hello Pura. Nora, hi. Pura replied in greeting. Nora's smile increasing. So what you thinking about? I don't know, everything. Nothing. I'm just thinking of everything before now, before Beacon. My mind just wanders. Nora jumped to her bed which was above Pura's. Home? She asked. Home? Pura spoke in agreement. What was it like? Nora asked in curiosity. It's not every day you get to hear from Pura Nikos about her upbringing. It was lonely. Pura spoke, sure my mother tried her best, but I never had the greatest opportunity in making friends. From there was Sanctum, which was another matter entirely. I figured if I trained harder, worked harder to get to the top, then I would be recognized. But it just made people afraid to come near me. Threatened by my status, I'm guessing. She smiled sadly. I've never had any meaningful relationship with anyone, but it seems like that could be different here. Wow. That sucks. Nora commented, to which Pura chuckled. Yes, it did suck. Wait, you only said your mom, what about your dad? Nora asked. I never knew him. Pura spoke to Nora's astonishment. I stopped asking after figuring out it was bringing my mother pain. It's weird I'm confiding in you all of a sudden. Nora smiled from her upper bunk, maybe it's because you have already considered me a friend. We girls have to stick together in this team, right? Pura smiled, yes we do. A moment of silence went through the room before Pura looked in wonder. Where would John and Ren be at this time? Who knows? Nora wondered. Mistral. Arg fuck. What the hell are you? A man yelled out in pain and fear. His hands were seen to be pinned to the bar table with a fork each digging through the back of his hand into the table. Beside him was Naruto, who was delightfully sipping a drink from a glass mug. 2 bloodied forks beside him. A strange description of the man was a tail that stretched to the ground. I've honestly been asked that a lot. Naruto spoke out, laughing out in delight. His expression completely opposite from the man's. The unfortunate man was seen wearing a uniform widely identified to be part of the White Fang. It seems here in Mistral you guys have been running rampant for a while, huh? Back in Vale you have been silent. Imagine my surprise when I easily find you goons here. Naruto happily gulped his drink. The entire bar shone. It was then seen that all the inhabitants of the bar were all dead. Pools of blood underneath all of their prone bodies. Naruto grimaced at the empty mug before looking at a drink on the bar shelf, and immediately, a wine glass floated across the air and into his right hand. "There we go." Naruto smirked, chuckling while the individual next to him looked at him with a fearful gulp. What the hell just happened? It happened in a flash. The White Fang were rejoicing over looting a shop that was foolish to open in the night. In the midst of their rejoicing though, he came. "I'm Naruto." Naruto spoke out with a smile earning confused looks from the inhabitants. Everyone disregarded him at first before he spoke out words that drew all the attention. "Can someone please guide me to Adam Taurus? I have a lot of questions to ask him regarding his activities of late. If not, I'll just kill you all." Naruto laughed out the last words earning weird looks from the occupants of the bar. But one thing that made them certain that he wasn't insane was that he just spouted their leader's name out of the blue. Before they could do anything, Naruto moved to a table beside him and took a fork. The man who was occupying the table looked at him incredulously from his seat. "Hey you little brat, do you know where you are? You have the gall to." With a swift movement, Naruto jammed the fork deep into the man's skull. "Filling it is?" Naruto frowned. The man's pupils dilated in shock, looking at Naruto whose eyes looked coldly to his. Naruto scoffed before removing the blood-stained fork out of his head, making the man's head to hit the table. "Dead." "What the?" The other White Fang members looked in shock at the way Naruto killed him. They all snarled and reached into their weapons pouch, only for it to remain there. Naruto vanished and was seen on a seat at the bar table helping himself to a drink. The blood-stained fork beside him. All of a sudden, all the members in the bar minus one person who was seen sitting beside him dropped down to the floor, pools of blood underneath them. The last member looked scared, unable to move. Suddenly before his eyes, the blood-stained fork split into four. As if it underwent mitosis. "Now?" Naruto spoke with a smile that spooked him. "Something tells me you might be cooperative." "Gee, go to hell." Naruto just blinked, "If that's going to be what you say." Suddenly the man saw that he couldn't move. He looked at Naruto and then to his own hands, which against his will spread out on the table before them. What are you doing?" "We are so going to have fun. Just so you know, I could easily rip the information out of your head. But your group are beginning to grow wings, trying to take what was not yours to begin with. Why didn't you all stay silent? I would never know." Naruto looked to them in disappointment. And now back to the present, the man was seen yelling in pain as Naruto happily rammed the last two into his hands. "Arg." He screamed out in pain, not expecting to feel it to such a high degree. "Oh yeah, I tinkered with your body. You'll feel pain unlike anything you've ever felt before." With a quick movement, Naruto removed the forks, ignoring the yelling man, and suddenly, the man's wounds began to heal. He-Man heaved in and out looking to his hands. The man looked in shock. What?" Naruto rammed one back into his hands, commenting amidst the man's screams. "This is how it will be till you give me my information. Where is Adam Taurus?" "Fine. I'll tell you, please stop." Naruto smirked and arched an eyebrow. "I'm listening." "Now that was no so hard, was it?" Naruto commented, cleaning the forks with a cloth before standing up from the chair. The man gulped and rubbed his healed hands. "Why you let me go?" "Of course I'll let you go." Naruto then jammed the freshly cleaned fork into his neck. The man gurgled out blood. "You know my name. And with what you've seen, I can't afford loose ends." Naruto walked out of the bar, leaving the man struggling to stop the blood flow from his neck. "Bye now." The bar went up in flames, shocking the people outside the vicinity. People surrounded the scene in shock, wondering what was wrong. Naruto looked at the emerging flames from on top of a high tower before puffing to smoke. "Years ago. Sensei, guess who I found?" A very young Osban spoke, followed by a very nervous Salem who hid behind him. Naruto arched an eyebrow. His appearance was seen to be different. His hair was unmistakably dyed red. A stubble of beard under his chin. He was spotted eating ramen off a ramen cup. A stack of empty ones were seen beside him. They were all seen in a well-furnished cave that looked well carved. Almost like a castle. "I can't see who it is." Naruto spoke with half-lidded eyes. Osban nodded and moved aside to reveal Salem, prompting a surprised look from Naruto. "F5. Salem looked confused, blinking and looking around. What? Who's 5? Naruto's eyes widened in realization before commenting, a dry chuckle ringing out, Sorry, I thought you were someone else." "I'm Naruto, you?" "Salem." Naruto nodded before looking at Osban, a dry look on his face. "What?" Osban scowled. "When I sent you on a mission, I didn't expect you to go frolicking around with girls." Salem looked agape with a reddened face. Osban gaped, "No, you sick bastard. Her home was destroyed by Grimm. For some reason they attacked her village." Naruto's eyes narrowed in scrutiny, observing the girl. He assumed, "Your eyes." Salem's looked confused at Naruto's statement. They look similar to mine when I was around your age. Lost, helpless. Tell me, do you want to die? Osbin's eyes widened, looking at Naruto in slight shock. Why would he ask her that type of question? Osbin knew Naruto had his reasons for many of his strange actions ever since he met him, but this one he didn't know. Salem on the other hand looked shocked at the knowing smirk on Naruto's face. He understood her line of thought but. I'm out of charity tonight. If you choose, keep your head bowed and bent on your life's path. With what I can sense in you, I do hope to see you as a wolf someday, not some sheep in need of saving. Until then, remember the one you fear the most. Those words struck a chord in her mind, her soul. Words spoken by a monster. Was it a grim, something else? She didn't know but, at least whatever it was, it gave her the answer necessary for her path. With a confident look she looked into Naruto's eyes. No. Naruto smiled at the response. Good. Osbin sighed, looking at the duo. It seemed Naruto had taken a liking to her. Naruto grinned, sparing a glance to Osbin as if reading his thoughts. Just like you, Osbin has lost his parents. I saw potential in him, that's why I took him on in my travels. I can see that in you also. The fact that you bear an uncanny resemblance to someone I knew a long time ago makes it a little biased. He looked at her. I can sense an unbelievable amount of power in you. Power I haven't seen in decades. I can train you so what happened to you can never happen again. What do you say, Salem? Care to join me, or rather, us? Naruto corrected, nodding towards Osbin. Salem clenched her fist, flashes of what happened to her parents was fresh in her minds. Their bodies eaten completely by the Grim that looked to them as nothing more than a snack. Her life was ended just like that. Everything she loved was gone. She hated them, the creatures. She needed to do something. She looked at Naruto replying, yes. Naruto smirked at the reply, well you need to freshen up. Welcome Salem. Naruto blinked as looked at Rashi from outside the dust shop, ready to retire for the night. Bakuo. He reappeared inside the shop earning a gasp from Rashi. Rashi scowled, do those weird stuff of yours away from here. Don't give me a heart attack. Naruto chuckled, waving his hand as he moved to his room yay. You always say that. TCH, cheeky brat. It's a wonder why you keep telling me then. Naruto asked. In hopes you will change. Rashi yelled in comical anger. Naruto just chuckled, moving into his room. Good night, old man. Linda looked at the cup of tea in her hands. She was seen in her bedroom. Her hair was untied, letting it fall to her shoulders. She seemed to be in deep thought. Naruto's words echoing through her mind. Do you trust me, Glinda? If you do, I want you to know that what I'm doing is protecting you all, but if you still want to know, then you must willing to shoulder the possible burden of what's coming. Things are coming, Glinda. Things even I do not have a handle on. I really hope you'd know what to do before then. Who was Naruto Uzumaki? She wanted to find out. From the first moment Naruto walked into her life he was an enigma. Osbin introduced him to the professors and decided to showcase his strength with one of the Grim captured for demonstrations. It was astonishing, the way he quickly dispatched the Grim showed that he was unbelievably strong. Even Osbin admitted to her on one occasion he was stronger than him, and that was saying something. Naruto was hiding something big, and the image or vision or whatever it was he showed her was a key to everything or at least something. Just who was he, who was Uzumaki Naruto? When she looked into his eyes, she felt sympathetic. His gaze reminded her of her father's just after her mother's death. He was expertly good at hiding it, but she saw it. The pain deep in his eyes, it was tumultuous. And it was astonishing how his story weirdly resonated with hers. At the forest back then, when they spoke, there was a connection between them. Whether if it was because they were Simi. Ring. Linda's line of thought was interrupted by the ring on the door. She looked incredulous that a visitor was here this time of the night. Is it him? Moving to the door, she peered through the hole through the door, her eyes widening. Glinda opened the door in shock looking at the man before her. The dad. Decades ago. Elemental nations. Sharp and hoarse breathing was heard throughout the battlefield. Many shinobi lay dead on the earth. Both friends and foes slaughtered completely. Blood was shed at unbelievable amounts. The deceased numbered to the tens of thousands. Skewered, slaughtered, burned, crushed or torn apart. The brutality of the scene could make any weak-willed man retch in disgust and even bring the strongly willed ones to their knees. At the center of the massacre stood two people. Naruto, who was bloodied head to toe, exhaled and inhaled in great pain. His sword sent deep into Tamari's heart. Tamari's lost visage was seen, blood in copious amounts flowing from her lips. I came to fight for the last hope of humanity that was left in you, why would you do this, and Naruto? Naruto gritted his teeth, not replying to her words. Tamari, releasing her last breath, muttered out in pain, I loved you more than anything. Naruto looked broken, beyond repair. Tears streaked down in pain, his Rinnegan eyes dulled, I loved you too. I still do. Temari didn't reply, her head resting on Naruto's shoulders, breathing her last. Naruto looked to the skies in complete rage. Rwby. The entire landscape deepened as a powerful repulsive force blew everything away. The corpses that coated the battlefield were buried within debris as only Naruto and a dead Temari were seen within the region. The clouds released their tears down on the blood-soaked earth, diluting the crimson fluid and attempting to wash the crime away. Naruto was seen, looking ahead in horror. What had he done? It was all for the sake of peace, right? His conversation with Nagato rippled through. You wanted the world to feel pain and through it understand each other, but giving them eternal pain. By leaving a permanent mark on this world, they will all be reminded of the remedies of peace day in, day out. Peace will then be achieved and I will take it on. Eternal pain, I wonder what you mean by that. Nagato mused. Regardless, if you will follow this route, people will die, and you will lose people close to you, people you will grow to love. Konan looked solemnly at the comment. Will you still be able to do that, Uzumaki Naruto? Will you be able to detach a piece of yourself to bring the world together? Naruto closed his eyes in thought as he examined himself. Many times I had failed to make the right decisions because I was afraid of what the new world held. Of what I would have to go into, but not anymore. I will take it all on, the hatred, the rage, everything. Naruto turned away, walking slowly outside. I will end this all, I assure you. It was all for the sake of peace, right? That was what he told himself as he killed them all. His friends, his comrades. Destroyed his village, destroyed the world. He couldn't even confide in Temari, the person he resonated within the world. Only Kurama, and now he didn't know what was going to happen. He couldn't sense him anymore. His chakra was there, but his soul wasn't. He was alone. Naruto removed his sword from Temari's dead body and laid her gently to the earth. His Rinnegan receded, his darkened eyes filled with pain to the point that it was heartbreaking. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto slowly turned his head to look behind him, seeing the Shinigami. He smirked mirthlessly and stood up, his expression hidden by his blood-soaked hair. What have you done? An impassive emotion was on Naruto's face, wipe the slate clean. You fool. You did all this so we could act. It was at this moment the Shinigami spoke in fury. Its emotion reaching the surface. Naruto didn't react in fear or anger. He just looked impassively to the deity before him. Yes, you once told me, one has to sacrifice even the world to gain peace. You were the ones who put the damn tree in this world. You were the ones who sent Kagaya and you were ones who molded this world. Naruto spoke out in fury. You made me kill the one I love for all this. You made me destroy my world just so you could create yours. There Naruto outstretched his hands as the battlefield was seen with slain shinobi. I have destroyed this world. We never made you do anything, Uzumaki. This is all you. Your love for this world has turned you insane. What you have done is an abomination. A stain to this world. And you will pay for what you have done. The Shinigami spoke with power, the amount of souls you have sent to my domain is unprecedented. You will live long enough to see the consequences of your actions. And then I will kill you myself without even laying a hand on you. You have seriously underestimated me, haven't you, Shinigami? Naruto spoke darkly as his Rinnegan glowed. Thunder and lightning rippled through the skies as deity and man stared each other down. Lost souls have broken out of my barrier and into the land, and it will be a matter of time till they are mutated to abominations. Naturally I have the power to end this, but I want you to watch everything you have done burn to ashes and you will see the mistakes you have done. Then and only then, I will accept your request to die and then will I step in. No, I created a new world. You will see. Naruto began but was interrupted. I have cursed you, Uzumaki Naruto. You will not be able to find peace within my domain. Not anymore. Only by my power you will die. That would be your punishment. I know you. Even you have seen the abomination you have become. You don't know me. Naruto spoke out deeply, clenching his fist. A soft breeze rippled through the atmosphere at the two individuals in the battlefield. Are you sure about that? The Shinigami muttered, prompting a narrowed look from Naruto. The Shinigami mused, I was beginning to see your potential, Uzumaki. Too bad you will die seeing exactly what this remnant of a world will burn out to. The Shinigami disappeared, leaving a stunned Naruto. A strong breeze graced the land, removing the stench of death from the vicinity. No, Naruto muttered silently, his visage lost. You can't leave. You can't leave. The skies thundered, lightning rippling through the skies. The rain soaked the earth, making the entire surroundings muddied completely. Naruto gulped and looked around before collapsing to his knees. I am alone. He was isolated completely from the world, cursed to wander the earth in repentance for his sin. Naruto went down on his knees, gritting his teeth in pain. Tears flowed out from his eyes, memories of his life flashing before him. From that boy who wanted to be Hokage to a murderer. A destroyer. He shifted his gaze to Temari's wet corpse. She looked peaceful in her death, more so than when she was alive. He slowly rose his head, looking to the brightening skies. I have destroyed everything. Chakra is almost non-existent. I have killed her. Naruto's face showed the weariness of the actions he took. A thought went through his mind. I want to be the Hokage so that everyone would acknowledge me. He was the farthest he could have been from his dream. He looked to the skies on his knees, Tamari's corpse beside him. The rain poured endlessly. What have I become? Chapter end. Chapter 6. Anchors. The Faunus Uprising 1. Anchors. Beacon Academy. Naruto looked across his office with an arched eyebrow to see Ruby looking at him, a nervous look on her face. So you want me to train you? Naruto pointed out, entertained by the way Ruby nervously laughed, scratching the back of her head. Naruto gave a slight nostalgic smile at her action. Well, Uncle Crow said that I should ask you to help me learn to fight, although I don't know what exactly I need to learn, I feel that I am badass enough. But then I saw the way you took care of the Grim during class, and it was like woo. It was awesome. Ruby spoke with stars on her eyes. Naruto chuckled at her character, so much of her reminded her of himself when he was young. And he also said to tell you that you owe him one. Ruby coughed out embarrassed. Naruto groaned and placed 2 fingers at the side of his head, I knew he wouldn't ever let it go. What did he do? Ruby asked, curiosity getting the better of her. That Ruby rose is none of your concern. Naruto spoke with a half-lidded gaze, a slight blush on his face. Shifting his head in the negative to banish any embarrassing thoughts, he looked at Ruby before exhaling. Well, I guess I do owe him one. I have seen your battle prowess already, and while that is information enough, I would like to get a feel of your abilities myself. Sure thing. Ruby spoke in excitement. We will meet in the Coliseum at a selected time, which reminds me, aren't you supposed to be in class? Naruto questioned, arching an eyebrow, to which Ruby chuckled sheepishly and whistled before swiftly vanishing out of the office, prompting a sigh from Naruto. Kids. You were just like that. I bet school is the same wherever you go. You got that right. Naruto replied with a slight smile before looking to the ceiling fan in thought. Watching the blades move in circles to no end. Are you sure of what you are planning? Kurama muttered, prompting an intense gaze from Naruto. I have to. He closed his eyes. I never thought things would ever result to this from the beginning. The people of this world might not see it, but to me this is more of a post-apocalyptic world, that is why I have to try and make things right. Repair this world from the damage I caused. I have to prove that this world can still be saved. Naruto smiled, looking forward in curiosity. Now I wonder what my clone has gotten in Vacuo. Vacuo? Cinder Fall looked to the skies, placing a hand to block the sun that shone from the east. An airship was seen behind them in front of a very large ruin. Its bricks destroyed completely. I never liked this kingdom, she muttered, to which Torchwick chuckled. No one ever likes this kingdom, Cindy. A funny thing is that before the Great War, there were transcripts that a large settlement was here, you can see traces of ruins here and there. Besides, anthropologists have dated them to be around for 3 centuries or so. Since when have we gotten so informal to the point you refer to me as Cindy? Cinder asked, her eyes narrowed. Torchwick just chuckled, and here I thought we were becoming very close friends. Cinder scoffed, but before she could comment, Adam Taurus came out from the ruins, glad that you all could make it. Though you are quite a bit late. He muttered in an uncaring manner, not that I care, but I hate to be kept waiting. Torchwick opened his lips to comment, but Cinder quickly interrupted him, we were caught up in a situation back in Vale. Nothing that concerns you. You said you had something interesting to show us. Adam smirked, naturally I would be tempted to keep my findings, but I decided to be generous for now. Cinder looked impassive at his generosity, well, let's head in then. Before they could move, Taurus muttered, wait, someone's here. Cindy's eyes narrowed along with Torchwick's as footsteps moved through the sands towards their location. Adam's expression changed to one of nervousness, sniffing the air and clenching his fist. The masked man revealed himself to the trio, the wind rustling wildly through the desert. Cinder's expression became cold, watching the man with a high degree of alertness. He wore an Anbu-styled uniform, with a fox mask on his face. One of your people, Taurus. No, I don't know who that is. Taurus muttered, gritting his teeth. If his eyes were visible, they would be widened in shock. He was behind Cinder and Torchwick so they could not see his expression. That smell. It's him. How is it possible? Why is he here? Who are you? Cinder asked in a monotone voice. The masked man chuckled, he was seen wearing a pure black attire under the hot sun, but showed no discomfort. Now I think that would be ruining things a bit if I told you who I am. Just say that I am an interested party in your recent activities of late. An interested party, huh? Cinder muttered with an arched eyebrow, to which the figure nodded his head in response. You see, the figure spoke, walking forward a bit, making the trio tense. I've been noting your recent accomplishments, Adam, and I have to say you've managed to interest me. For now you all can call me Kitsune. Why are you here? Torchwick asked, aiming his staff at the figure. You seem to be the daredevil type. Seems I would have to teach you a lesson about pointing guns at your seniors. Kitsune quickly placed a finger in front of him, and that was the beginning. Suddenly, Torchwick was sent crashing through the ruined walls by a huge blast of wind which quickly caused Cinder to enter her battle stance, channeling the essence of fire into her being. She sent a huge blast of fire towards Kitsune, who didn't move from his position. The fire attack was quickly dissipated into nothingness as soon as it made contact with his unmoving form, prompting a stunned look from Cinder. What? Adam gritted his teeth in anger and moved, swiftly going for a sword slash at speeds untraceable by the human eye. Semblances don't work on him. His attack collided with Kitsune, rippling the earth beneath them. The sands were pushed apart due to the speed of and strength of the collision, due to Adam colliding with him. He gritted his teeth as Kitsune was seen stopping the blade with his hand. Kitsune then whispered so silently even at close range, it took Adam's heightened hearing to pick up the words. I thought you had learned, boy. Seems all these years and you have learned nothing. You left us. Adam snarled. And attempted to remove his sword, but it was all for naught as Kitsune's grip on the sword didn't budge an inch. I'm really disappointed, Adam. Kitsune kneed his gut with such force, Adam spat out blood. He didn't have time to grab his breath before a brutal haymaker from Kitsune sent him deep into the earth, giving him a severe concussion. Adam's frontis mask cracked a bit, showing the effect of the strike. He gasped out in pain as Kitsune viciously slammed his foot down on his chest, creating a medium-sized crater. Adam gasped in pain, trying to catch his breath. His ribs were broken, he was sure. Multiple tendrils of fire attempted to slam onto Kitsune, but it was all for naught, dissipating into air as soon as they made contact with his body. Cinder looked forward in contemplation and nervousness. Adam just commented that semblances didn't work on him. Just what was this mysterious figure? She could feel Kitsune's grin towards her, and she narrowed her gaze. She never had planned for this. This was a demonstration. Kitsune muttered, moving away from Adam Taurus's pained form on the earth. Cinder looked in confusion. This was a new addition. Who are you? As I said, an interested party. A huge blast to the side of Kitsune's head made him turn towards the direction of the shot to see a panting Torchwick whose face was bloodied. Kitsune chuckled, you lucky brat. He vanished into a plume of smoke, making Cinder look surprised before turning back towards Torchwick to see him wheezing in pain. Who the hell was that? He muttered seriously and painfully, to which Cinder looked forward in contemplation. She would have to talk with her boss. She hated the idea of an existence she knew nothing about. Looking towards Adam's down form, she bit her lip in nervousness. She knew the capabilities of Taurus. For him to be completely defeated without so much of an effort showed that Kitsune was someone not to be toyed with. The fact that Taurus clearly knew the figure and declined comment was another issue. A new person was introduced to their game and she was not a big fan of this new character. One thing was certain, she was going to see Salem. Vale. I got blindsided by a gun of all things. Naruto chuckled, the memories of the events from Vacuo returning. In your real body you would have sensed it. It seems they have something fishy going on there. Naruto looked down and thought. Adam, huh? Are you alright, Naruto? Naruto closed his eyes in resignation. I think it's time I moved my pieces too. I have to take care of 3 aspects. One is per Hinako's, and I already know how to get her attention. One of Torchwick's goons were very sharing with information. And here I thought you had gone home, Naruto. Naruto arched an eyebrow and shifted his gaze to the door to see Ozpin walking into the room. Ozpin. Naruto spoke in recognition. He immediately got up and muttered, I was about to move out. Ozpin smirked, it seems you have a lot on your mind, you didn't even see me come in. Naruto shrugged, it is as you said. Right now things are brewing up. I'm just trying to keep things as stable as possible, and I was about to speak with one of the students you have here. Well, 3 of them. Ozpin smirked as Naruto walked past him and out of the office. I wonder who these 3 are. Naruto smirked, whatever suits your mind, Ozpin, whatever suits your mind. On top of a high building, Naruto sat the edge of the top overlooking the entirety of Beacon Academy. He looked down to see multiple students walking about thinking on their various activities. A slight smile worked its way onto his face, at least this academy has something we all need at this moment. He looked down to see Ruby and her team walking ahead, without a doubt to their dorms. From this vantage point, he closed his eyes and inhaled, slowly taking in the feeling of the entire academy. This was his creation, every single brick placed on the earth he knew about it. This was the first task he set out to do. Just for a moment, Naruto smiled, delighting in the degree of peacefulness here, the nature energy flowing peacefully, brightening the land. You asked to see me, Professor. A female voice spoke, to which Naruto did not even bother to turn. Come and sit beside me, purr. Hira looked slightly confused but moved forward and sat beside Naruto. She caught his gaze towards the students and a confused expression came on her face. the way he looked down on all of them. It seemed like the way her mother looked at her most of the time. Love and endearment, but just as she saw the look it vanished. Naruto turned his gaze towards Purah. Tell me Purah, what do you think of them? Purah looked stunned as to why Naruto would ask her such a question. They look happy I guess. She commented either way, slowly relaxing fully in his presence. She smiled at the peaceful energy that surrounded him. But from the way he had dispatched the Grim earlier during class, she knew he was a warrior. Someone who had killed over the years. But it didn't matter to her. She looked down and noted their expressions more fully. Her life in Mistral had taught her that peacefulness didn't last. There was always conflict, aiming at tearing the land apart. She repeated her earlier statement. They look happy. But it doesn't seem it is going to last. One way or another, I can feel that the world is tilting. I don't know how or why, but I can just feel it, something's coming, something big. Naruto smiled, you have potential I rarely see nowadays, Purah. Something I hope will aid me in the future. Can I depend on you to protect them? Purah looked confused, why would you ask me such strange and cryptic questions? Naruto grinned lightly, chuckling cheekily, prompting a smile from Purah. She sighed, a fond smile on her face. Either way, I have begun to experience things here. Companionship, something I would like to protect, so yes, Professor, I will give my quota in protecting the people here. Because I've begun to see them as friends. Naruto nodded his head in gratitude, thank you. You're a strange person. Purah commented, to which Naruto chuckled, tell me something I don't know. Tell me Purah. What do you know about your father? Purah's expression changed, looking down in slight longing. Naruto looked at her and caught the countenance on her face. I haven't met him. I wish I knew him though. No matter what I asked my mother, all she said was that he loved me more than anything, but he just couldn't come to me to us because of dangerous people. I could see that she loved him, despite him being away. I just felt that there were things I didn't know, but not knowing them raised more questions. I see you know of Roman Torchwick, don't you? Naruto asked, to which Purah nodded her head. He was involved with your father. Purah quickly shifted her gaze to Naruto with her eyes widened, what? Your father was Saul Nikos, a commander of a faction of criminals working under Torchwick. Purah was shell-shocked. Her father was a criminal, working under one of the most wanted men in the entirety of Remnant. Shocking huh? Purah's eyes widened at his original statement, was. You said he was. Naruto nodded his head, he died a couple of days ago. Killed by Torchwick himself. Purah's mouth was agape in shock. Just like that, her world was slightly beginning to change. She never knew him, she only knew about him through the tales her mother told her, and now she's just finding out he was dead. Purah knew that her mother would be broken once the news got to her. What made him go to work with someone like that? Purah commented, clenching her fist. Did he know of the pain he kept leaving at home? Naruto looked at her. She mostly isn't perturbed by his death. It's her mother's future state of mind that is the current cause of her anger. I guess it's as a result of him not being around. He smiled sadly at the thought. You were staying in Mistral, a place known for the rampant crimes all over the kingdom. Hell, ask anyone on what they thought about Mistral, and the words lowlifes and thugs would be prevalent. But, you know this more than anyone here. Purah nodded in understanding. She knew firsthand of the dangers of staying in a place like Mistral. She had to become strong, just so she could be able to protect her mother. That was the motivation that wanted her to strive to become the best of the best. They weren't affluent, well-known, or had a reputation that sparked fear, they were just a random family born within a harsh kingdom. But strangely, they were rarely confronted. Your father joined them to protect you both. He was sure that with his influence with the most wanted criminal, you wouldn't be harassed much. The government has a weak hold on security in that kingdom, only able to protect the rich living within the inner centers of the city. Purah's eyes slowly widened at Naruto's words, he commented, that was his goal. To get you and your mother into the city and to make you all never wanted anything again. He tried to gain what he could, stealing from them so he could take you and your mother away from all this. Purah looked saddened and shocked at the news, he did all that for us. He was caught however and Torchwick murdered him, shot him point blank. Purah clenched her fist looking down at Naruto's words, how did you find that out? I interrogated one of his goons just recently. This might be hard for you to stomach and I sympathize with you. But. Purah sniffed and wiped any emerging tears, but that probably is not what you called me for. Purah was heartbroken, but she tried to will her mind not to cry in front of Naruto. She didn't know the man, her father. But, he was eliciting such emotions from her. Since her time at Mistral everyone expected her to be strong, they touted her, the invincible girl. She scoffed in her mind mirthlessly. No one had the mind to come to her, to know exactly what she was feeling, what she wanted most. What she craved most. She was vulnerable, more than anyone out there. That was why she tried to keep up shields to protect herself, shields that pushed people away. Because she knew, if they were to know her, she wouldn't be invincible anymore, they would see how weak she was, and they would strike like vultures. That was the mindset she had to grow within Mistral. Naruto looked at Pura, an understanding expression on his face, he knew she was in Uzumaki, if not deluded over time. Possibly a distant relative who went into hiding after the attack on Yuzushiogakure, but a bit of him resonated with her, going through all that at a young age. Add in the fact that you Uzumaki are always followed with pain wherever you go. Their once great power came at a dark cost. Naruto smiled mirthlessly at Kurama's words, you know Pura, there's no one here. He placed a comforting palm on her trembling shoulder. It's okay to let it all out. Pura dug her face into his red cloak and gritted her teeth, tears slowly flowing out. Naruto comforted her, looking down at the students moving about in their lives. Bakuo. Adam Taurus grunted as he was brought back to consciousness. He got up and gritted his teeth at the sharp pain he felt. Flashes of the kitsune rippled through his head. He's back. I would stay down if I were you. I guess your Fronis heritage promotes your healing. I expected you to be knocked out for a longer time. Cinder commented. Taurus is very tough, I'm guessing. Torchwick mused, chuckling out, on a more serious matter, you knew who that was, didn't you? The man that attacked us, that kitsune. No, I don't. Taurus. Cinder spoke sternly, I hate untied ends. You knew who that was, I could see it. It doesn't concern you at all. Trust me, someone who comes to attack us with strength rarely seen concerns me. I would like to know your powerful friends, Taurus. And I expect you to be more cooperative. Cinder spoke, her eyes narrowed, showing her irritation of the matter. Adam Taurus frowned before scoffing, he looked away from her before speaking. He was the head of the White Fang before me. What now? Torchwick commented with an arched eyebrow. Cinderfall looked on slightly stunned, I was under the assumption that you killed him during the uprising. More like he left and took a long time not coming back. Adam spoke in slight disdain, he's very powerful. And if he has decided to show himself, what's coming will not be good. Torchwick spoke, well that's well and all, why did you bring us here, Adam? I found something that might help us in our cause, which I think your benefactor would find pleasing. I would be the judge of that. Cinder commented, to which Torchwick smirked. Adam looked around, noting them to be in the same ruins as before, what happened to him? Torchwick shot him and he vanished. That was a clone then. He thought before he banished them away. First things first. Anyways, come with me. Adam took a deep breath and got up slowly, walking into the ruins. Cinder and Torchwick followed, moving deeper into the darkened underground lair. Cinder swiftly created a light source from her palm, illuminating their path. Thank you, Cindy. Torchwick commented, scowling at Adam. Not everyone had peripheral night vision, you know, Adam. Adam shrugged, it took a while after we got readings, noting a very impressive weapon that could be used to help us. The trio stopped as a huge black silhouette was seen before them. Taurus removed a fire dust and inserted it into a compartment on one of the pillars, and the entire underground layer glowed. Torchwick whistled, with Cinder's eyes narrowing in interest. A cold smirk gracing her face. What the hell is that? Torchwick asked, to which Adam chuckled, apparently, this was used in the Great War a long while ago. Now I'm curious to what actually happened. The object under observation was seen to be a huge cannon that seemed reinforced, not showing signs of aging on it. At the base of the cannon several runic writings were seen inscribed on it. Bliss possibly? Cinder thought in wonder. It took a while till we were able to get the translation at the base. Most of it was incoherent, but we managed to get a couple of words. The language is archaic, almost lost to time. Adam muttered, chuckling at the interested gazes of his two acquaintances. Haminari no Kuni, Chakura Kakusen Taiho. And Chakura Yuzo Taiho, basically meaning, Land of Lightning Chakra Diffusion Cannon. Chakra Transportation Cannon. Land of Lightning. See Chakra, what the hell is that? That was the thought that coursed through the duo's minds as they gazed on the weapon before them in wonder. Chapter end. Chapter 7. Bonds. The Fronis Uprising 2. Bonds. Beacon Academy. Ever since she was combat efficient, Ruby Rose was definitely sure it had to take the wills of a superb warrior to bring her down. She wasn't bragging, no she wasn't. This was something she knew, especially after being trained by her Uncle Crow. Her speed was awesome, she was very quick and knew that was a huge disadvantage for anyone having the unfortunate luck of facing her. She had come to accept that the instructors in the academy were pretty strong, considering what she had witnessed in Vale a few weeks ago when the group of robbers tried to steal some dust. Even Torchwick knew not to face her directly, but here she was, running at full speeds and yielding no damage. Not a single strike. She had been fighting for what felt like hours, honestly, to her. All he had been doing was evading and hitting her to the earth, pissing her all the more. Ruby sped at a high degree towards Naruto directly, a frown on her face. She noted Naruto's gaze towards her. It was stoic, not giving anything away if he was been threatened or tired or anything. It was really annoying. She quickly blasted a shot of dust from her crimson rose backwards to speed up her movement the moment she was in close range. The effect gave the inclination that she had vanished and appeared behind Naruto, bringing forth her scythe, ready to strike. The effect of the collision riveted through the battlefield, emitting a slight shockwave. My judgment would be Ruby looked forward in shock, her scythe completely stopped. This was a first. You lack tact. Naruto finished and Ruby was shocked completely as a blast of wind from Naruto sent her spiraling backward through the air, sending her tumbling backwards, crashing and rolling across the earth. What was that? She thought in pain while groaning. Looking at her weapon lying on the earth a slight distance from her, she hardened her resolve and moved to get it before she was shocked for the second time. What the hell? She looked on both in shock and awe as her scythe quickly flew towards Naruto, who simply reached out and grabbed it. She looked conflicted. What? She wondered. Naruto ignored her possible line of thoughts and commented. Well, you are pretty good with some goons and low-level fighters, you are too predictable to more experienced fighters like me. Your movements are wasteful and I could see your attacks coming a mile away. And I'm guessing. Ruby widened her eyes as Naruto appeared before her to her shock. She had never seen speed like that, she couldn't even react. She could only tumble backwards, falling clumsily to the earth. Naruto frowned, speaking as a matter of fact. Without your weapon, you are complete garbage. Ruby's eye twitched to Naruto's slight amusement, but he kept his impassive gaze and looked at the weapon on his hand. We need to remedy that. No matter how she wanted to dispute the fact, it was staring at her directly in the face. Come to think of it. She really was helpless without her crescent rose. Spotting her weapon on Naruto's hand, she frowned. Remembering his speed and control over her weapon. What exactly is his semblance? She wondered in slight awe and annoyance. He was just so fast it couldn't be natural, and comparing that magnetic stuff he did. It was similar to Purr's, just how was it possible for someone to have two semblances? Ruby's mind exploded, she thought too much. Sensing the metaphorical steam emerging from her skull, Naruto chuckled, prompting an embarrassed look from Ruby, who blushed and stood up, looking aside. So what are you saying? She asked bashfully. Well, we need to work on your hand-to-hand combat, which seriously should have been taught to you. You should not always depend on your weapon. Weapons fail, that's a fact. Again she tried to protest in defense but knew again, he was right, she was hating this trend. As if Naruto wanted to mess with her again, he quickly sealed her scythe, but to Ruby's eyes, it disappeared in a puff of smoke. Where is it? She shouted out, half awed, half angry. She worked so hard to make it, so destroying it was a no-no. Naruto tapped her nose, I simply kept it away for now. I will give it to you as soon as you are done today. If you even have the strength to carry it. Ruby looked forward in slight apprehension. She didn't like the expression on his face. It spelled doom for her, that she was certain. Naruto simply smiled mysteriously and a little bit mischievously. Linda sighed, stepping into her home and removing her key. She was tired, that she was sure of, and not seeing Naruto was a bonus. She didn't need to be confused today, she had another situation in her mind. Her home was now given a much clearer view. It was simple, well-cleaned and well-kept apartment. It was painted white with the sitting and dining rooms in one room, while the bedroom and kitchen doors visible behind the purple sofa. A screen was visible on the wall opposite the sofa, a small glass table separating them. Linda walked in, and the aroma of wagon wheel beef soup reached her nostrils. She widened her eyes, looking forward in nostalgia. It was then, a slight tear dropped from her eyes, gritting her teeth in pain. An image of her family passed through her memories. She could see her mother, a beautiful blonde-haired woman who looked at her with love in her eyes. She doubted anyone could love her as her mother did. Her siblings had this rare smile on their faces that no one could see every time. And since they were being drafted to battle the Grim constantly, that moment was a rare aspect in their lives, and even their father looked at them with love. At that moment, with her family, they left it all in the background. Their burdens, their struggles, everything. They were simply focused on family, on being together for that moment in time. Linda looked down in solemnity before stealing her expression. She stepped into the kitchen, opening the door to which a man fumbled in surprise. He had black hair that was quickly fading due to the gray hair sprouting at random areas. He looked back at her with green eyes, looking stunned but relieved. You startled me for a second there, Glinda. Linda ignored his statement and moved to the fridge. You keep acting like you didn't know when I entered. We do have to let our guard down once in a while, don't we? He spoke chuckling as Glinda reached for a bottle of water. He returned to the pot. Besides, I feel much safer here in Vale. Linda drank in gulps till the bottle of water was exhausted. She threw it to a small trash can beside the door before sighing in relief. Her father smiled, you've had a tiresome day, haven't you? Something like that. I had a feeling, you can go freshen up. Dinner will be ready soon. Linda entered her bedroom and looked at the family picture by the side of her bed. She could see her father, mother and 4 siblings, 2 boys and 2 girls. They all looked so happy. Sighing, she moved to the showers, ready to freshen up. It was really a long day for her. Linda took a bite of the food and her eyes slightly widened. Her father looked nervous at her expression. Wondering if it was as good as she remembered. She didn't look up to him, she just commented. "You never told me, you never told anyone you could cook." He chuckled slightly, reminiscing in nostalgia with the way your mother hoarded 2 kitchen to herself. "I never had a chance. And when she was gone, well." He grimaced as Glinda gripped her fork slightly, not wanting to pay attention to him. She just let out a breath of fresh air. "It's just like how she made it." He smiled gratefully. "Thank you, no matter how good I was in the kitchen, I could never reach her standards. It's nice to hear that from you." "Why are you here?" Glinda asked, looking at him sternly. Her father sighed. "Can we have dinner in peace, please? Believe it or not, I came to see you." A regretful expression came on his face. "I haven't had the chance to see any of you since that day." Glinda's face softened slightly, a sigh escaping from her lips. "Fine, then." The dinner proceeded quietly, Glinda relishing the cooked meal. It was refreshing. She usually was too tired to step into the kitchen when she was done from Beacon, hence resorting to order food to which she ate in content. But it was nice to eat something homemade every once in a while. Unknown to her, her father watched her with a fond smile on his face before moving to his plate and eating it. Hey, it did taste good. A smug smirk emerged from his face. Beacon Academy. Ruby groaned, walking through the passageway of their dorms. She looked as if she walked through a blender. Her clothes were torn, tattered. Her body was whacked with pain at every movement from her body. Her room was looking so far away, dragging her weapon across the floor. Naruto was right, by the time he was done with her she could barely walk. Only using her sheer will. Her training with Uncle Crow wasn't like this. This was insane. She reached forward for her doorknob and twisted it, opening it and walking in. "I am telling you, it doesn't Hey Ruby." Yang spoke out mid-sentence, spotted at the top bunk to the right with Weiss pointing at her in argument. Yang arched an eyebrow at her disheveled form. Ruby groaned out in exhaustion. "Sleep, must sleep. So tired." What's wrong here?" Weiss asked, her arms in akimbo. She was just in an argument with Yang when Ruby walked in looking worse for wear. Ruby flopped to her bed and began to snore, prompting an arched eyebrow from Blake. "Well, seems like she had a fun day." "That was from training with Professor Naruto." Weiss spoke out, her eyebrow arching in awe. A slight blush emerged from her face. "Maybe we could ask him to train us." Weiss suggested. "And come back looking like that." Yang pointed to Ruby, whose ghost was attempting to struggle out from her mouth. "Why yeah." Weiss spoke, really conflicted. Yang smirked mischievously. "Oh please, you just don't like Ruby spending time with the professor." What? That ridiculous." Weiss spoke, her blush increasing. "Hey there Professor Naruto." Blake spoke out in greeting towards the door. Weiss gasped and turned towards the door, already straightening her hair. Only to see nobody. Weiss was fully blushing. The nerve. Yang laughed. "Oh god, you are so hopeless." "How could you Blake?" Weiss asked, betrayed, to which Blake gave a light smirk. It felt funny. "No, it wasn't." Weiss' gaze moved to a snickering Yang in protest. "I do not have a crush on him, more like an admiration. Yes. I admire him." "Right, we all do." Yang drawled out before jumping down from her bed and moving out. "Now if you'd excuse me, Professor Naruto said I should come and meet him in the night at his home. He says he wants to teach me something." Yang emphasized, before moving towards the door, leaving a Weiss who had not registered Yang's words. She nodded and smiled. "Of course, you should always be there to ace you. What now?" Yang chuckled. "Yeah right, admiration. I'm heading to the bathroom." Weiss humped. "I do not have a crush on him." "Whatever makes you sleep well, Weiss. Whatever makes you sleep well." Blake commented, returning to her book. "You always read that book, what's it about?" Weiss asked, interested. Blake arched an eyebrow. "Since when are you interested in what I read?" "Well, I have nothing to do, besides, from the way you are immersed with the book, it must be interesting, right?" Blake blinked and then shrugged. "I guess." Weiss smiled in victory. "So, what's it about?" "It's about a sage." Blake began, trying to find a way to summarize the book. After the Great War between the 5 continents, it showed his life as he walked over the earth, looking at the results of the war. It showed his travels, meeting the 4 maidens in each journey and bestowing upon them the powers over the 4 seasons after they helped him overcome his pain. Oh. Feels a bit mystical. I presume. It wasn't what drew me into the story. The book is regarded as fiction, so it isn't that well known, but his journeys, you could see the pain he felt visiting each location. Trying to rebuild from the ashes of the destroyed earth. In a way it doesn't feel like fiction. Blake smiled a bit. "It's really interesting if you give it a try." "I'm sold." Weiss commented honestly, it seems cool. Yay. Blake smiled wistfully, yes it is. Why did you come? Glinda asked again. This time, she was sitting opposite her father, done with their dinner. I said I came to see you. Her father spoke, his green eyes showing sincerity. Oh, don't do that. Glinda spoke with a slight bit of resentment on her eyes. Don't look at me like that. Her father looked down, sighing a bit before looking back at her. He gave a quick smile showing how hard this was for him from his emotion. He seemed embattled, like he was treading on hot coals. He straightened his face as hard as he could. I came to apologize. Glinda's clenched her palms to a fist underneath the table as she listened to his words. I had time to review my actions before and after your mother's death and I realized it was all my fault. As well as what happened afterwards. Glinda gave a scornful gasp, oh really? He frowned, this is hard for me Glinda. Oh I know. She spoke, her voice rising slightly, and I know how hard it was for you to keep your image that you had to turn your children into warriors. She spoke scornfully. Glinda do you even know what I wanted to be? Glinda asked, a look of pure bitterness on her face, my dream, do you know what it was? Her father looked down in regret, trying not to break down in front of her. I guess so. Glinda spoke scathingly, expecting his response, or lack of. Mother did. But that didn't matter did it? Her father cursed himself, he felt nothing but dishonor at himself. Glinda continued regardless, her voice coated with pure resentment. You wanted a family of hunters and huntresses, except for mother, of course that was understandable. She yelled out. When Richard and Gertrude lost their lives, you isolated yourself in sorrow, leaving us alone, as if it wasn't your fault in the first place. Do you know how I cursed myself every day because I according to you wasn't up to standard? But of course you wouldn't. She spoke in irritation, and all you have to say is I'm sorry, even after mother's death. What do you want me to say, Glinda? Her father spoke remorsefully to which Glinda scoffed. What I want to tell you is that it's too late. Glinda spoke, tears brimming at the edges of her eyes. She quickly got up from the dining table and walked towards the door. Thanks for dinner. Where are you going? He asked, stunned. She stopped, tears flowing freely showing the pain she was burdened with throughout her life. Her father couldn't see it, but he could feel it. And he knew she was completely right. She scorned him, and rightfully so. He couldn't forgive himself, how could she? Not here. She muttered, clenching her fist around the doorknob and twisted it, moving outside. Before she was out of hearing sight, her father moved to the door and spoke silently. I would still be here, waiting. Glinda didn't stop one bit, she just walked on, whether she listened or not, she didn't show it. She left her father in her home, walking in the cold airy night. Naruto looked at Rashi closing shop, it's kind of early don't you think Rashi-san? After what happened, I don't think I can be brave enough to leave this shop open late in the night. But I am here, there's nothing to worry about. Rashi stubbornly shifted his head in the negative, prompting a sigh from Naruto. I'm fine, do whatever you want. Naruto's eyes then widened slightly before he looked outside the shop, his eyes narrowing slightly. I'd lock up Rashi-san, let me check something out. Sure thing, Naruto, I'm heading to bed. Rashi nodded his head and moved through the door at the back of the shop. Naruto smiled at his retreating figure before watching as Glinda made her way in. You look like you've had a long day. Naruto queried, noting her expression. He then looked curious and slightly worried, what happened? Glinda exhaled peacefully, finding herself in peace as soon as she stepped in, I need somewhere to stay tonight. Naruto smiled, arched an eyebrow in inquiry, so White Fang. As the most popular terrorists in the entire land of Remnant, their headquarters were well hidden within the mountains, it was barricaded on all sides by numerous mountains and a passageway serving the only mode of entry. Sentries were visible on the mountains, ready to note any incoming threat. Their far visual prowess called into play. The large airship landed within the roof of the huge building which seemed like a castle. Adam Torres stepped out, greeted by many masked fauna who quickly rushed to the top. Leader. Adam paid no heed to them and moved down into the main building. Similar to the external appearance, the inside was very beautiful and impressive, well lighted and well decorated. Torres moved into the building, a woman greeting him at the moment he stepped into the passageway. She had a partial wolf's mask on her bottom jaw. She was very attractive, light-skinned and in possession of violet eyes with blue hair. Torres nodded in recognition, how's everything today, Sim? She smiled, everything has been going smoothly since you left for Vacuo, how was it? She asked curious. It seems I would have to brief you all soon, but now, I need to rest. She nodded her head, I understand, but before you leave, we are done with most of the preparations to destroy the towers. Our branch and Mistral are the ones left though. They are experiencing some difficulties. I see. Adam mused, sighing a bit. Tell me something Sim. If you wanted nothing more than to protect them, you would do what it took. Sim blinked. What do you mean? Adam widened his eyes and shook his head. Forget about it, I'm rambling. Adam clenched his fist. So you've returned, father. Chapter end. Chapter 8. Winter. The Faunus Uprising 3. Winter. Atlas was a kingdom located in the far northern continent of Remnant. Like the other kingdoms, it was governed by a ruling council to represent the people and their needs. Unlike Beacon Academy and Vale, the Huntsman Academy of Atlas, its government and military, all functioned as one unit. The kingdom was known for its innovation and far-reaching technological achievements, having developed and then gifted the cross-continental transmit system to the rest of the world sometime after the Great War, according to the records. This greatly helped in allowing communication between the four kingdoms. Not only was Atlas the most technologically advanced, it was the primary producer of dust and the location of the Schnee Dust Company's main headquarters. Covering an area of 210 hectares and consisting of 200 buildings and 6 kilometers of defensive walls, stood the headquarters of the Atlesian military. It was in a simple term, a fortress. It was a rectangular structure, with each corner having a high tower, 3 of which were 75 feet high. The tower in the southwest corner, which overlooked the wide expanse of Atlas, however, was about 115 feet high. The fortress of the Atlesian military was partly surrounded by a deep ravine approximately 165 feet wide. And it contained the academy, palace and the barracks. The building was noted to be on a rock hill, which was much higher than the entirety of Atlas. Finally, above the building and in the air, were a battalion of airships that overlooked the land. This gave an incredible vantage point for the military in case of an attack. Within the general's headquarters and in the strategy room, stood General James Ironwood, the headmaster of Atlas Academy and the leader of the Atlesian military. He was seen looking over the map of Remnant, musing on recent developments occurring around Remnant. Footsteps approached him from the entrance, prompting him to look forward to see a tall, white-haired woman. She moved forward with grace, holding a portfolio in her right hand. She was Winter Schnee, a member of the Atlesian military's Special Operatives Unit. She bowed in respect, General. He rose his hand up, at ease, Winter. So, I'm guessing you have some new information for me. Winter nodded her head and gave the portfolio over to him, prompting to open it and hum while looking it through. How concrete is this information? He looked towards her, already knowing the answer. Absolutely accurate. The Grimm are beginning to show coordination in their movements within the borders of Mistral. This confirms Crow's fears. This is not good news. It was never intended to be. Winter then pointed to the map towards the borders of Mistral. Mistral do not have the forces capable of dealing with such a threat should it escalate. And again they have refused any help from us, or more specifically, our Atlesian Knights. They are never one to trust our technology, huh? It's to be expected. Winter mused. They've always refused help, although they know the degrading nature of their kingdom. They are a prideful bunch. Unfortunately for them, my concern is the stability across Remnant, not Mistral. If the Grimm managed to capture Mistral, however impossible the task, it would only be a matter of time before Remnant is harmed. What is most puzzling is the coordination of the Grimm. It's almost like the incident that happened in that village. Winter asked, while pondering. Yes. Ironwood looked on in thought. Their raid on the village was unlike one I had seen. It seemed organized and planned, which isn't what we know about them. It seems someone might be experimenting on the Grimm or can control them. Or we have been wrong in our assumptions of the Grimm from the start. Either way, the good thing is that the Nevermore and dragons haven't convened within their kingdom. Winter nodded her head in agreement. I agree, the last thing we need is confusion and panic. It seems we will have to get Gabriel after all. Ironwood sighed, we need his expertise on this. Winter looked in thought. I haven't seen him for a while, do you have an idea where he is? He's in Vale currently. Apparently he has family issues over there. I want you to go and get him, Winter. We need to strike as soon as we can. Understood. Winter bowed in respect. In another note, apparently most of our graduates have joined the military, as predicted. I see. Well, it's good news. I have a question though. Winter looked to Ironwood, who waved at her, letting her continue. Why don't we immediately recruit the graduates into the military? In my view, it would help the security if we all functioned as one unit. Ironwood chuckled and walked to one of the windows, looking over the kingdom. Not everyone joins the academy to serve in the military, Winter. Some just want to be able to protect their families and friends in case it is necessary. Some want to be known around the world as huntsmen and so on. The free choice is very important here. If that was not so, your younger sister wouldn't have made it to Vale, or more specifically, Beacon. I don't know why she decided to attend that school. The one here was okay enough. Ironwood smirked at the slight scowl on her face. That, Winter, is between you two. Say hi to your father for me before you go on your mission. It has been a while. Understood. If I may take my leave, General. You are dismissed. Winter bowed in respect and walked out of the office, letting Ironwood look on in thought towards the map. The Grim has begun to assemble again. This is troubling. This coordination was seen once ago, when they attacked the village. The last time we could not react, we could only listen to the news when they had ravaged the town. But now, we would counter-attack in time before the same thing happens again. Hopefully, Winter gets to Gabriel before it's too late. He looked at the map, chuckling a bit. I'll need my deputy general after all. Today we are going to try something a little bit different. Naruto spoke calmly, his voice echoing to the farthest parts of the Colosseum. The new entrants to the academy listened to his words with their undivided attention. They liked Professor Uzumaki's class. That went without a fact. Apparently it was the only class they could actually have fun and test their abilities. He was making them stronger and they could feel it. Naruto elaborated, walking to one of the cages, we are going to be testing your survival instincts. How to hide your signature from most Grim, as well as how to find a way to survive should you be outnumbered or overpowered. The students were seen on the spectators' seats, looking down towards Naruto who was at the edge of the Colosseum. He moved towards a cage and opened it, stepping slowly backwards. He then commented. The Grim, as you have all been taught, are known for their impeccable skill in sensing negative emotions. The students looked in awe as a very large bipedal Grim stepped out slowly from the huge cage. It had two horns that protruded from its head with huge teeth emphasized by its canines. Its eyes easily towered over Naruto with ease, causing him to look like a small individual compared to his size. They can sense fear, anger, hatred, any negative emotions. And so to be truly invisible to them, you must be absent of these thoughts. The Grim stalked around Naruto, growling in irritation. Naruto spoke out, can they hear? Of course they can. But they can't pinpoint my location because of their lack of sight, well, most of them. Hence they depend on the negative emotions to get the exact position of mine. If you can control it though. The Grim walked past Naruto, growling in annoyance and anger. You will be exactly invisible to it. The students looked in awe as Naruto kept walking around the Grim, with the Grim none the wiser. How is he doing this? Ruby asked in excitement and wonder. This was astonishing. Weiss looked on in admiration. For someone to actually remove any traces of hate and fear when facing the Grim was nothing short of outstanding. It's really unbelievable. Yang mouthed in awe. Hell, whoever wasn't impressed by this seriously had some personality issues. Blake on the other hand looked at Naruto with her eyes slightly widened. I only know of one person with that ability. For someone to actually master the art of concealing one's emotions, that is the quality of a master assassin. That is really chilling. Who exactly are you, Professor? Blake looked on in contemplation as an image of the man with red hair passed through her memories. Is it possible that? Naruto on the other hand was grinning inside his head as he soaked up the looks of adoration from his students. Heh, now he knew why Jiraiya loved to boast. The attention was pretty intoxicating. He quickly summoned his sword and bifurcated the Grim in one full sweep, allowing it to disintegrate before it touched the earth. I'm just doing this to show you the basic way the Grim operate, and I'm sure most of you would think of this to be impossible. It's to be expected. Huh. What's wrong, Blake? Ruby asked, noticing Blake's stare on Naruto. She tuned out Naruto's words in favor of her friend. I was just thinking, what made him to lose all fear when facing the Grim? It's just strange, I guess. Naruto looked on. I'm sure by now, most of you cannot face the Grim without feeling one negative emotion. Due to anger, revenge, fear, justice, those emotions can be manipulated by the Grim. You must learn to control your emotions, not lose grip when it is the most critical. The students filed away to their dorms after their classes were over. They had a lot to talk about and most of it involved the blonde professor. Sounds of collisions filled the training grounds as Ruby engaged Naruto in hand-to-hand combat. Ruby was pushed back a bit, to which she pursed her lips in determination and ran back towards him, trying to find any opening or opportunity to wipe the smug smirk on his face. Naruto arched an eyebrow, impressed. I'd admit, you are a fast learner, Ruby rose. Ruby smirked, seemingly fueled up by the comments. She attempted a roundhouse to which Naruto simply grabbed it. Your defenses, though, Ruby grimaced. Is still garbage. He quickly threw her away from his location, causing her to tumble across the earth, far away from him. She winced, trying to stand up despite the pain that rippled through her body. How is he so strong? She quickly sent a glance to his direction only to see no one. Looking for me? She gasped as Naruto was seen behind her. She scowled, don't do that. Your senses are another thing that needs focus. And I startled you to prove my point. We are going to hone your senses to be able to detect any attack even from your blind spot. Your aura is very important in this regard. What do you mean? Most huntsmen, when battling or going on incredibly dangerous missions, send out a pulse of their aura in order to stabilize themselves to their surroundings. This technique enables them to note the entire surroundings without looking at it. They would be able to feel the tiniest crack on the earth, the ridges, the trees and even the insects. Ruby's eyes widened in excitement. It sounds cool. Yes, it may seem cool, but it requires a high degree of efficiency in controlling it. Each person's aura is a depiction of someone's soul. It may be chaotic, gentle, vicious, and destructive, it may even be bloodlusted. But no matter the nature, aura can be controlled to be brought to a more docile and manipulating form. And with time, you'll learn the final step of this control lesson. Which is? Ruby had ignored the pain brimming through her body in favor of excitement. Who knew training with the professor would actually be cool? That is the ability to not use your aura at all, but still, be able to sense your surroundings. Like you? Ruby asked, prompting a smirk from Naruto. Astute, Ruby rose. You continue to surprise me. I'd have to still admit it, strength-wise you are an exceptional student. I can't believe at this age of yours you have been able to harness your aura to such degree. And don't feel bad if you can't defeat me, it's understandable. But how are you so strong? Ruby asked puzzled. I'm pretty sure even Uncle Crow would have a hard time with you. Naruto chuckled cryptically. Whatever you say, Ruby. So what are we going to do now? You will have to evade me. Gear up, Ruby, I'm coming on the offensive. Ruby swallowed thickly, going into a stance. Oh boy. The cold winds from the north blew through the mountains and forests, causing snowflakes to be blown about by the natural element. Cinder walked through the rocky and snowy terrain, familiar with the surroundings. She had a red glow around her body, effectively shielding her from the cold winds that caused branches in the surrounding forests to break, unable to handle the pressure. Cinder trudged upward, unbothered with the temperature. She continued on her snowy path till she found herself before a cave with multiple openings. She smiled in nostalgia. Haven't been here in a while. She walked till she was in the center of the cave and placed her hands in the center of the openings. A sequence of spiral markings emerged from the point at which her hand made contact, glowing red before vanishing deep into it. Cinder paid no heed to her slightly bleeding palm and watched as the illusion was dispelled, showing one entrance only. She moved in, and as soon as she crossed over and into the cave, the illusion was reset. Willing fire to appear on her palm, she walked down the steps till she was in front of a huge pavement, surrounded by 12 pillars. She moved till she was at the center, and then she waited. A couple of minutes passed and a portal opened up before her, showing a red sky within it. As soon as it opened, it vanished, revealing a white-haired woman with redder eyes. Black markings were seen surrounding her form, her body covered by a white clothing. Noting Cinder, the edges of her lips went up slightly in recognition. Cinder. It's been a while. Yes, Salem. It certainly has. Salem nodded her head and moved till she was before her. She looked Cinder over, arching an eyebrow. You look well. Well, everything has been proceeding smoothly as planned, but there is a development that I am rather displeased by. Salem narrowed her eyes in thought. For you to come to me means this is not something you can solve by yourself. Cinder nodded in reply, prompting a frown from Salem. Do you know of anyone named Kitsune? Salem's eyes narrowed in recognition. I haven't heard of that language in a long time. Cinder pursed her lips. So you knew of his existence then, and apparently, you know he was the leader of the White Fang before Adam Taurus. Not just leader. Salem corrected, prompting an arched eyebrow from Cinder. She clenched her fist. He was basically the one who created the White Fang. What? Cinder widened her eyes in shock. But that's impossible. Many things are impossible that happen here in Remnant, but to think he is alive after all this while. If you encountered him, it must not have been friendly. Torchwick aggravated him to battle before we could decide upon that. Salem frowned. That dense fool. But still, Adam Taurus clearly didn't intend to share that he was the father and founder of the White Fang. It's understandable. Salem commented, looking around the cave and walking to one of the pillars, noticing a crack on it. They have respect for each other. Hence, they do not easily give out secrets like that. And how were you able to find out? I was a special case. Salem exhaled, placing her palms over the crack and restoring it back to its original form. Turning to Cinder, she asked. So, what exactly happened there? I think he was tracking Adam for most of it. I see. Who is he exactly? He was someone I knew. And someone who's dangerous. Should I be worried about him hindering our plans? Salem smirked, he is formidable without a doubt. You should also avoid him if possible. Although I doubt he intends to do anything unnecessarily damaging to our plans. So we continue. Cinder spoke with a certain degree of certainty. We continue. Salem affirmed. You are my mode of having an effect on this world. It's not yet time for me to reveal myself. Not yet time. I would be going now if there is nothing else. At the lack of a response, the portal reopened and Salem looked back at it, noting the desolate landscape. She began to walk towards it when Cinder's words stilled her. How are you, Salem? Cinder asked in slight concern. Salem didn't turn back to Cinder, making the latter to look at her leader, noting the moving black marks around her body. They seemed alive, infinitely moving. Never ceasing in its a hypnotic flow. Salem chuckled slightly and craned her head slightly to the side, revealing a lone glowing red pupil. The black markings glowed red, prompting Cinder to note the aura emerging around Salem. Like death itself, her reply was even more chilling. Never been better. Thank you for everything. Glinda muttered to Naruto, who looked at her with an endearing smile. Anytime you need me, Glinda, I'll always be here. It's nice to listen to that. Glinda looked down, a slight blush on her cheeks. I meant what I said, you know. Glinda looked towards Naruto, who had an honest smile on his face. It is better you have a dad you hate. His eyes glossed over in a slight hurt than none at all. Go and listen to him, get to the root of it all. Thank you, Naruto. Glinda began to walk towards the door of the dust shop. But as soon as she placed her hands on the door, she paused a little. She turned back to look at him, a grateful smile on her face. I know it would take a while for you to open up to me. And already I know the hurt you feel from just looking at me. Naruto's eyes widened slightly in surprise, to which Glinda chuckled at his befuddled state. You might be as strong as it gets, but even you are very bad at hiding your emotions. I remind you of someone, don't I? Someone you love dearly. Glinda muttered, looking down, a sad smile on her face. Naruto looked conflicted at her words. I hope, whatever we have eventually, between us, would be our chapter, no one else's. Glinda smiled, looking back at him. Naruto could then see what a beautiful smile she had on her face. It made his heartbeat skip for a moment. Something he never thought would happen for a very long time. So, I'll keep waiting. Until that moment you would open yourself to me. I want to see into your heart. I want to know who you truly are. Glinda pushed open the door and walked out. Till then, Naruto. Naruto looked at her, a conflicted look on his face. Glinda. Just then, a memory rushed through his head. Years ago. Naruto was seen on the beach, effectively in a disguise. Some years had passed after the occurrences of the war, and he had walked through the world, trying to find what he could salvage after the destruction. A disclosed woman was seen before him. She had white hair, sitting beside him and looking at the wide span of the ocean. She turned her gaze to him, to note his eyes broken, lost. Not able to find any semblance of hope buried with those darkened blue orbs. Naruto spared a glance to her. Why do you keep coming to sit beside me? The woman smiled, looking back at him. And he speaks finally. She chuckled out, looking into his pupils and noting the irritation within his orbs. She shrugged her shoulders. Maybe it's because you never look happy. Or maybe it's because you are lonely. Who knows? I don't like it when you look into my eyes. Aren't you afraid of what you would find buried there? She mused, something really horrible, I'm guessing, if your moodiness is to be gauged. And besides, if I look at the beach sands, how can I talk to you? Phi. Naruto thought, sparing a glance to the woman. Ever since I came to this town, she has been the only person who has stayed by me. She introduced herself on the first day, I can remember. I didn't reply to her, though she just keeps trying to probe into my mind, not knowing what she would find. The horrors, the destruction. He chuckled mirthlessly in his mind. She thinks that by not speaking, it means I can't explain myself. Like a baby. But, I am not like a baby, I am like an old man, and she a small girl. I've fought in a war, and she doesn't even know what war is. Looking at her, that is obvious. Dry-Fiu commented, breaking him out of his thoughts. Try to talk to me about your experiences. Naruto just stared at her, musing at her next words. Or, try to tell me what you are thinking. Naruto gave a long sigh. He had never felt any stress that surmounted what he was feeling now, the burden. He muttered, I'm thinking about my future. I smiled, very good. So, how do you see your future? Naruto looked to the skies, a conflicted expression on his face. Phi looked worried, concerned that he would return to his shell once again. She wanted to place an arm on his shoulder for comfort, but she knew that it was too soon. She just muttered. Do me this favor, okay? Naruto shifted his gaze to her, his eyes clearly showing a great deal of conflict in between. She spoke to him caringly. I think, if you talk to me about it, it will make you feel better. How do you know that? I just do. Naruto looked at her, memories of his life from the beginning to this current moment flashing through his mind. I saw terrible things, I did terrible things. Things that would make you question my sanity, something I'm not sure of. Though that was my past life. Naruto looked down to the sands beneath his feet. But, in this life, I just want to be happy in this life. But at the same time, I can't. If I'm telling this to you, what I've done, you would think that I'm some sort of beast. I looked at him, a slight smile at the pain she could see radiating towards her from him. Or some sort of demon or devil, Naruto admitted, a sad smile on his face. But again, you will still be right. I am all of these things. He looked to her. I wasn't alone, you see, at the start. I had a brother, someone I could call my father, someone I looked up to as my mother, and someone I considered a sister. They loved me." Naruto looked in tears, his eyes peering into her shocked amber ones. "And I loved them. But still then nothing stopped me from killing them." Naruto looked to the skies, noting the birds flying in a formation to the south. All in a foolish bid to save this world. Chapter end. Chapter 9. Sins of Our Fathers. The Faunus Uprising 4. Sins of Our Fathers. "Open your eyes, Blake dear." With her small ears twitching, a 7-year-old Blake blinked, squinting her eyes to block the light that got in. Too bright. She scrunched her face up in irritation, prompting a chuckle from the man who opened the curtains. He had short red hair with a grizzly red beard and blue eyes. The most prominent feature about him was that he had 3 whisker marks across his face. He was seen wearing a white shirt with its 2 first buttons unfastened over a black trouser that stopped a couple of inches above his ankle. It was Uzumaki Naruto, but with a different hairdo. "Come on pa. I need to sleep more. That unfortunately I have to disagree on. Come on, we have a lot to do today." "Why don't you take Adam then?" Blake scowled cutely, encouraging a smirk from Naruto. "Or Leon. They are coming with me also." Blake blinked. "Really? Why?" "Maybe if you come on with me you would know why." Blake grumbled and jumped out of the bed in her pajamas and muttered lazily. "Fine, I'll join you in a bit." Naruto ruffled her hair to her annoyance. "That's my girl." Blake groused a bit, watching as Naruto left the room. As soon as he left, the edges of her lips twitched up a bit before she moved to freshen up. While in the bathroom, Blake was seen brushing her teeth, humming a tune. "I wonder," she thought. "I wonder what father's name is." Blake walked down the steps of the huge mansion. It was an incredibly huge building, built to resemble a castle. The establishment simply represented the home of the Faunus, the place where they could avoid the stares of the human population and be themselves. Though things were getting better. Most of them were children and a few were adults. Blake looked to the entrance of the building to see Naruto alongside 2 other children. The first was red-haired, a younger Adam Taurus, while the second was a blonde-haired teen with violet eyes. That was Jake Leon, spotting a tail reminiscent to that of a lion. Blake blinked as she watched the scene with puzzlement. Naruto seemed to be pissed, if the imaginary twitches she could see forming on his forehead was any indication. It was then she realized. Adam's hair was red. That wasn't the usual case. Leon was seen behind Adam, his trembling lips as a result of the laughter that threatened to come out. Speeding up her pace, she walked over to the trio to see a nervous Adam looking at Naruto. Blake chuckled before a smile emerged from her petite face. Adam, why is your hair red?" Leon snorted at the deadly gaze Adam sent towards her. "Yeah Adam?" Naruto asked mockingly with an arched eyebrow. "Why is your hair red? Why don't you enlighten Blake on that one bit? Your hair was cool okay." Adam admitted, squinting his eyes in embarrassment, hiding his dark brown pupils from view. He blushed, looking to the side. He began to mutter, well completely flustered. "It's like very rare and stuff, I really wanted to stand out." "Oh. So that's why." Blake wondered. Adam blinked, wondering why Blake hadn't began to laugh like Leon that badly wanted to. Maybe she saw that it fit him. He grinned proudly, but it faltered along the line. Adam then knew that it was a mistake to think along that line, because then, Blake began to laugh. Hard. "What? Oh my. Seriously? Oh come on Adam." Tears threatened to burst out from her eyes as Blake leaned to an amused Naruto while she kept stamping her feet on the ground. "Yay, yay," Adam sighed amidst the laughter thrown at him, humiliated completely. "Laugh it up." "Oh and Blake, you wanna know the most awesome part?" Leon asked, snickering before speaking out to Adam's displeasure. The die wasn't the type that could come off easily. Blake looked absolutely shocked, comically shocked, a new batch of laughs attempting to burst out. "No way." "Yep." Leon nodded as Adam couldn't reply. "So if he washes it, he would be left with a heavily miscolored hair." "Oh boy." "You Leon laughed, nodding his head. "I tried to warn him, but he said I was jealous, so I shrugged and let things play." "Oh Adam." Blake spoke while heaving, trying to control her laughter. "What were you thinking?" A young boy around their age was seen on some rolling boots, passing by. He stumbled a bit, looking with his jaw agape. "Adam. What the hell happened to your hair?" "Shut up. I'm not going on this stupid trip." Adam seethed and wanted to go away from there, only for a huge palm placed on his head to halt his motions. "Easy there boy. We were going somewhere before all this." Adam grumbled and turned to Naruto and asked. "Do you think I'd want to go with them, knowing that they would just be teasing my hair completely?" "You deserve it, you know." Naruto spoke with an arched eyebrow, but relented. "But to avoid any hijinks, Blake and Leon here wouldn't tease your hair no more than 5 times. Adam looked aghast. What? 5? Did I actually hear a protest? Erg. Fine. Adam sighed and turned to the two friends who looked at him with innocent smirks plastered on their faces. You know I'm older than you both, right? Whatever you say, Adam. Adam groaned, this was going to be a long day. Is he in right now? Blake was deep in thought, moving through the classes. She looked around at the students who walking around the school, noting the aloof and excited expressions on their faces. It was break time, and she told her team that she had something to attend to, something that chewed at her mind. She thought on her progress in the school to this moment. So far with her Faunus heritage hidden, she had been lining a peaceful life for the most part. Was it fair that she could easily cover her traits, compared to Velvet? She sighed. It was not the time to go into such thoughts. Now she had an objective. Looking forward at the door before her, she clenched her fist, noting the name on the door. Professor Uzumaki. She knocked on the door and hearing no response, frowned. He's not in. Exhaling in resignation, she moved to walk away when the sound of metal hitting the ground reached her ears. She blinked, turning around. That was from inside. She reached for the knob and twisted it, arching an eyebrow at the door giving way. Blake stepped into the office cautiously muttering silently to the air. Professor. The room was strangely dark, despite the time of the day, but that was not a problem for someone like her. She saw a figure on the chair behind the table and moved to him. Reaching the table, she called out. Prof. The sounds of snoring interrupted her to her stunned silence. What the she looked in amazement at the sleeping teacher before sighing and deciding to walk out of the office. I guess I could try tomorrow. Her hand hit the mug on the table, sending it to collide with the earth to her horror. Oh no. She physically winced at the shattering sound that emerged from the mug breaking to pieces. That unfortunately caused the blonde teacher to snap up in confusion. Who, why? Blake chuckled a bit, prompting a puzzled look from Naruto. He blinked, wiping off the tiredness from his eyes. He stared at her for a while before blinking in realization, shifting his gaze to the floor. He looked slack-jawed. My favorite mug. Blake followed his gaze, and her face looked in fright. I'm so sorry, Professor. I didn't know it was. It's no problem. Naruto exhaled, waving at her. Just my favorite mug. Blake chuckled nervously as she swallowed a bit. She moved to pick the pieces only for Naruto to stop her. No, don't worry about it. But Blake. Naruto looked at her, to which she blinked. It's okay. Oh okay. Yawning a bit, he stood up, moving to the bottle of wine behind him. He stopped mid-stride. Linda didn't send you, did she? No sir. Naruto snapped his fingers, trying to remember. Oh Blake, was it? Yes sir. He waved. Please, no sir, just reply as you would to your friends, eh? Blake blinked and nodded slowly, prompting a smirk from Naruto. He offered. Wine. The dry look from Blake made him to chuckle before waving her away. Spoil sport. Relaxing back into his chair, Naruto reached for the glass and poured wine into it before taking a huge sip. He looked to her teasingly. So, what brings you here, Blake, apart from watching me sleep and breaking my mug? The blush emerged from her face as she stammered. And no, it wasn't. Calm down. Naruto chuckled. Just teasing. So what exactly brings you here? Blake nodded nervously. Forgive me, but I just wanted to ask you a question. Naruto arched an eyebrow, noting her nervous expression. Blake continued. You see, you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago, but he left before she trailed off, a pained expression on her face. It's okay. You can ask me anything. Naruto smiled comfortingly at her, prompting her eyes to widen slightly at the smile. It was just as similar to their father. Hey, are you a Faunus? Blake asked anxiously, her hand trembling a bit. Of course. Blake was taken aback at the reply. What? You asked if I was a Faunus? Naruto chuckled. Yes I am. Are you? Blake gulped, grabbing her trembling right hand. Are you father? Naruto smiled. Of course not. I've been told of my similarities to him. I'm guessing it's because we had more fox-like traits. After all, we all knew him as Kitsune, right? But how? How have I been able to make it so far in this world? Naruto asked her before gesturing to the seat before him. Please, sit down, Blake. I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for a while now. Blake looked at him, emotions adrift within her. Was she happy, angry, or relieved? She didn't know. She just couldn't move from her spot. Naruto remarked. You were part of the White Fang, weren't you? The rebelled version of Adams. Blake looked on with her eyes widened. How do you know that? I have been around, in the shadows, watching as everything happened. Blake looked on with shock. She whispered. You were watching? Blake clenched her fist. You are powerful. Possibly more powerful than Adam. Naruto's face fell, looking down in silence. He knew where this was going. Why didn't you come to help us? Or, did you judge us too? Blake spoke out, slamming her fist to the table. Naruto kept his emotions hidden, not attempting to look her in the eye. His blonde hair blocked his expression completely, shielding his eyes from her. All we wanted was what father wanted. We just wanted to be accepted. Why can't you people see that? You keep judging us time and time again. You never want to listen to our side of the story. Tears streamed down her eyes. Father did it, he secured everything for us. He kept us together while he secured our freedom. Finally, we were making progress. She snarled, then he left. He left us. I know. Naruto muttered. Apparently he didn't see any need to meddle. Blake spat out angrily. But it was then we knew. That it was only his power that the humans recognized. Naruto's hold on the glass cup tightened. Blake gained a despondent look on her face. They turned on us not soon after, and father was nowhere to be seen. The world might judge Adam for his actions, but he did what he had to do. He fought hard, rose in power to make the world fear him. Once he had the fear father had, he was going to fight for peace, for equality. Blake exhaled slowly. Unfortunately, he and Leon became consumed in their anger and rage and drifted away from their goals. He wasn't there to save them, to help them. And you, I only knew of your existence in the papers, never knowing you were even a faunus. She looked at him. And now I find myself before you, confirming not only that, but your strength. Where were you? I was watching everything, Blake. Naruto spoke with a smile. I didn't see any need for me to intervene. Blake looked at him stunned as she spotted the look on his face. Naruto smiled, looking out. This world, the humans, faunus, we all fear what we do not understand. That's exactly what happened during the war. Blake was taken aback. If I had stepped in, fought against Adam, and possibly killed him, what would that have led to? No matter what we say, there would always be sympathizers, and without external intervention, we, ourselves, would destroy the Fang from the inside out. And besides, is it worth killing him? The faunus should always be together, never apart from each other, or we would fall. I know what forcefully trying to bring peace to this world will do. I know that, more than anyone. Blake looked confused at his choice of words. Why is he speaking like that? That's why I decided not to intervene. I see your point, but that doesn't justify anything. Don't you think there could be something we could do? Something. Blake sniffled, using the back of her hand to wipe off the tears that stained her cheeks. You could have done something. Anything. Naruto smiled in admiration. You are young, Blake, but you have potential. You are one of the few that still wish to fight for the right of the faunus, for peace, something I admire. I admit it, I failed you, I failed them, and I'd try my earnest to make it up to you all, regardless of how late it might be. Prepare yourself, we would be heading out soon. Blake blinked. Where? You'd see. Blake looked at him hopefully. Do you think we could find peace? Naruto smiled at her. I'm sure of it. She blushed, looking to the side. I'm sorry for my earlier outburst, Professor. She muttered in slight embarrassment. Please, I expected that. One would be frustrated with how things are, to be honest. So it's understood. Blake nodded her head in gratitude. I'd be leaving. Blake stepped out of the office, noticing that no one was drawn to their discussion. She was pretty loud. Did he have a hand in that? Banishing any other thought away, she walked to her dorm, not feeling the need to attend any class. It wasn't going to help one bit. I failed them, didn't I? Naruto asked out loud, looking to the bottle before him. You were always fond of irrational thoughts. Kurama muttered. I warned you centuries ago of your actions before you decided to fight against the villages. You said you could see peace in the horizon. That was what mattered to you. You never thought of the effect it had on the people surrounding you, and when you did, you thought it was irrelevant. You thought it was a little sacrifice to pay. Naruto clenched his fist. I wasn't fully in consciousness when you decided to leave the faunus, and so I wasn't there to help you see the other alternative. Again, you thought what they felt towards you was irrelevant. You were planning to leave this world, and you didn't want to leave grievances. That was the exact thing you did. What do you mean, Kurama? You have an uncanny effect in this world, Naruto. Is it fate, destiny, or coincidence? It doesn't matter. You forget to know that the same people you leave to pick up the pieces are the same people you intend to leave this world to. They will be hollow, distraught, and even then, even when peace has been restored, they wouldn't feel anything about it. Naruto sighed, looking tiredly to the spinning fan. What do I do, Kurama? Naruto asked, looking lost. It seems being as old as you are hasn't helped you in wisening up. Don't worry, it's a good thing you are not perfect, we are all bound to make mistakes. You must handle this fauna situation with utmost priority, Naruto. Kurama's voice was completely stern. Yes, you saved that village by planting mixed genes from animals using my chakra, or they would have died, but the rebound effect is that the world looks at them with uncomprehending hate, just like the Jinchuriki. Naruto's eyes widened before he looked down solemnly. They are your children, however you want to look at it, all of them. They are your responsibility. Naruto closed his eyes in thought. I never realized the implications of that. I always thought they looked up to me. Sure, I saw Blake as Naruto sighed as he closed his eyes and thought. You are not experienced in that, are you? I need to think. Gabriel Goodwitch looked across the table to see his daughter, Glinda looking at him in contemplation. I'm sorry, father. Gabriel looked on in shock. You have absolutely nothing to be sorry for. No, I have a lot to be sorry for. Glinda spoke, looking down in thought. I actually never thought of the effects of Mum's death on you. It affected all of us and I had no right to react the way I did. Gabriel interrupted, looking down in sadness. I loved your mother more than anything in the world. Her death shook me, but I should have known without doubt that you were all distraught about her death. We should have been together, but I was foolish, I was brash, I left. Gabriel stood up and walked to her. I am not perfect and I know that I am not the best father or in fact the father you all deserved. He knelt down to her widened gaze. Honestly, I never deserved any of you, but still, I was blessed with you guys and I still treated it like it meant nothing to me. I'm really sorry, Glinda. Glinda smiled. Mother would have not wanted us to be fighting, would she? She never would have wanted that. Gabriel smiled fondly. The comfortable silence settled between the two as Glinda exhaled. I'm hungry. Glinda muttered, looking to the side, a slight blush on her face. Can you? Of course. Gabriel muttered. Anything for my daughter. Glinda looked to the ceiling, the smile still on her face as the discussion with Naruto propped up in her mind. The two were seen in Rashi's shop, cups of tea between them. Naruto looked at her, waiting to listen to her story, her pain. Glinda hesitated, but there was always something about the person before her that told her that it was okay to tell him, to confide in him, to believe in him. She began. Life works mysteriously, don't you agree, Naruto? Naruto smiled, nodding his head. More than we expect. Glinda gave a short smile, looking to her tea. I had 4 siblings. We all grew up in the mountainous region in Atlas. My father, Gabriel Goodwitch, was a well-known hunter. He was strong such that a lot of people, mostly the ruling council, kept pushing him, supporting him to become one of the top echelon of hunters in the kingdom. He was a proud man, powerful, but prideful. Naruto looked at her, nodding in response to her words. He wanted us to reflect that image, and so he pushed all of us to become more like him, to help boost the reputation of the family as well as his position. Sounds like an ass. Naruto spoke out, chuckling. Yay, Glinda muttered, a frown on her face. He was. I was the last of us, and so I was kinda spoiled a lot. My dad didn't appreciate that, and he wished to transform me into a huntress, following the footsteps of my siblings, who had become well known in Atlas and probably all over the world. The eldest once won the Vital Festival at one time, I think. Impressive. Naruto smiled. I never wanted to be a huntress though. Glinda muttered, stunning Naruto. I was astonished by buildings, how they could stay still over time. I was interested in architecture. I wanted one day to be able to build my own structure, if it was a city, a village, a simple shop, I didn't care. I just wanted that more than anything. My father told me it was pointless. That I needed to be strong if I ever wanted to protect my mother. I resisted, but it wasn't enough. Eventually, I became a huntress and I was dispatched across the land, fighting Grim and the likes. Naruto nodded in understanding, letting her continue. Everything was okay, regardless of the anger I felt towards my father. I thought it wouldn't hurt if I saw his line of thought. Been away from home for up to 4 months, I had decided to go home. She looked pained, clenching her fist. Only to come home to find out that my mother was dead. Naruto widened his eyes at the statement. I never had the chance to tell her goodbye, that I loved her. That I wanted her to stay. The Grim came and killed her and went on. Tears streamed down from her cheeks as her voice wavered. My father left us in sorrow, enraged to go and hunt them down, and he took 2 of my siblings with him. Naruto placed a comforting palm on her trembling fingers. It's okay. No, it's not. She muttered, clenching her fists. He returned, having accomplished his revenge, but with my siblings dead. He was empty, ashamed, and so consumed by rage he shut us out when he could have been with us, helped us get through it all together. Glinda raged. He totally devoted his time on the Grim, and before I knew it, he became the deputy general of the Atlas army, just second to Ironwood. Gabriel Goodwitch, huh? Naruto mused. I couldn't stay there. So I left and came to Vale, where I applied to teach in Beacon. Just when I thought my life couldn't get better, he comes back, hoping to build severed bridges. I initially hated him because he tarnished my dream, but I despised him because he killed my brother and sister. I feel the pain you feel right now, but Naruto looked down in sadness, able to feel the pain that radiated from her. It was the Grim killed your siblings, not him. Glinda looked hurt. What? It's as I said. Sure, he was consumed by rage, but who wouldn't? He is an asshole, someone I wouldn't think twice before beating the crap out of, but he's here, and whether you like it or not, Naruto looked fondly, he's your father. Some of us never get that opportunity, ever. Linda looked at him in astonishment. After all he has done, after everything. I think it's a flaw of mine. To think everyone could be saved. Years and years of experience hasn't made me any less naive, but that's me. Your father is human, I am human. Naruto spoke the last part in doubt. At least, I try to think so. I never had the chance to grow up with my parents, whether they loved me, whether they hated me, I didn't know. Naruto closed his eyes, exhaling a bit, prompting a concerned gaze from Glinda. Are you alright? Naruto then grinned. We are talking about you now. It's I who should be concerned. So, I think you should give him a chance. He ran to kill the Grim because your mother died. That's love, no matter how twisted it was. Naruto interlocked his fingers within hers. He threw himself into his books because the Grim killed your siblings. Again Naruto chuckled. No matter how strange it may feel, it's love. Give him a chance, Glinda. It's better that he is here to mend fences with, rather than he be not here, leaving you both to live in regret. Naruto winked. It might take a while, but you would all be closer at the end of it. Trust me. Besides, from what I've heard, your mother wouldn't have wanted you guys to be fighting like this, nah. Linda looked conflicted, looking down before Naruto smiled, lifted her chin, making her look into his eyes. Believe me, Glinda. Her eyes widened at the assurance she could see within them. It was unbelievably comforting. That conviction with which he faced the world was unnerving. It was astonishing for her to watch. How could someone show the sort of determination she could see currently? He was not ordinary, not to her. She replied, an unwilling smile emerging from her face. Sure. Chapter end. What if Naruto was spirits, the primordial being rwby, and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.